There she blows.
We are back to the beginning. Man.
Well,
Ooh.
it's Wednesday. Not just any Wednesday. Here it comes. You ready? I'm about to fire up. It is the Wednesday after WrestleMania 42. And fellas, there's a lot of split conversations that's going on right now when it comes to WrestleMania, not to mention the Monday night after WrestleMania, which is drastically changing. It brought us to the main event of tonight's show because Jacob Fatu has challenged Roman Reigns. But the question is, what is he challenging him for and why now? We're going to get into all that and more. We have Brian H. back from location in Las Vegas. He can tell us about the ins and outs of all the things that happen on the ground, as well as the perspective of many fans who watched the events live and those who enjoyed it at home. Now, trust me, brothers, we've been very critical about this road to WrestleMania, but some fans are saying it delivered, some fans saying it didn't, but we are here once again, as we always do, to have this very, very valid discussion to figure out, was WrestleMania worth it? Does Jacob Fatu have what it takes to take down Roman Reigns, or is the bloodline brewing once again? That's my theory. Buckets, let's get it.
Houston, we have a problem.
Yes!
Welcome to the Wrestling Rundown podcast, where we take a deeper dive into the world of professional wrestling. Now, I'm your host, the realness himself, the real Dwayne Allen, and I am truly in the building, fresh off of WrestleMania. And he is your host, Mr. Super Producer, Brother Hugh, has a third A to the A to the S, T to the H to the E, 3 to the R to the D, is in the building, fresh off of WrestleMania. And he is your host, the man, the myth, the legend, the founder, the creator, the heart and soul of Wrestling Realm, and fresh off the pavement of Las Vegas, fresh off of WrestleMania, and still a heel in 2026. Hollywood. Brian H. Waters is in the building once again, fresh off of WrestleMania. I don't know where the robot voice came from, fellas, but I figured I'd just try it on and just see where it goes. But brothers, we are back and we are here, and it's a lot of people rolling in, and we have to discuss the fallout of WrestleMania. And for many people, we always look forward to not only WrestleMania, but the Monday after WrestleMania. And it is quite different. No, I'm not acknowledging you, Brian H. It is quite different from what we're used to, because clearly Triple H is trying to reestablish some things as far as how we view the WWE. But this is the biggest thing that came from it all. Jacob Fatu, he didn't come out to celebrate with his brethren, with his cousins, with his family. I was nervous. I thought we were going to get a bloodline reunion, and I'm still nervous. But he came out to challenge Roman Reigns for his World Heavyweight Championship just a few hours later. So, fellas, let's not waste any time. First and foremost, how's everybody feeling? I mean, it was a long road to WrestleMania this year. We all know that, and we were trying to get used to how late it was in April versus how kind of early we're used to having it. But nonetheless, we have to talk about whether we enjoyed WrestleMania. Was it a fun week? Was it a fun weekend? Was it worth it? And are things changing? And do we need to change with those things? I don't know. But that's why we're here to have this conversation, because I'm pretty sure there's plenty of other fans that may or may not feel how we do. and may be looking for some type of deeper perspective on what they may or may not have witnessed. So, with that being said, fellas, and I forgot to welcome Brother Hughes Marvin the Martian Mug. He's kind of part of the show too. That's the fruit of me. But fellas, how we feeling? Fresh off WrestleMania, we back.
Oh yeah, I'm happy, man. And I don't like how y'all no sold me either in the group chat.
What do you mean? How do we know so you? And all
Because
if you text somewhere between 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning West Coast time, that wasn't anybody's fault. That wasn't a no so. It was like a sleep thing. Probably was sleep.
I was still
right.
Let's see, make sure because this was 9:47. So
hold on.
Yeah.
What time?
That's a good question. But this phone, no, it was definitely 9:47 because it's been switched back.
Okay.
But I text you from the work phone because the other phone was dead.
What did we know so, Brian? Talk to me.
When I said that it was my new favorite WrestleMania.
Here's the thing, though. I thought you were sleeping.
It was sick. It was
so like what?
I knew you were gonna say that
every year though. That's probably why we know so.
I haven't said that since 39.
Here's the thing.
40 was
that last year,
and last year certainly. Last year I was falling asleep. I ain't gonna lie. I was falling asleep.
I definitely thought 40 was your favorite because it was in your favorite city,
Las Vegas, Nevada. That is. Hold on, that deserves air horns. Let me find them. There it is.
Now I was talking about Philly.
Yeah, well, Philly ain't my favorite city.
I thought it was Detroit. I thought Detroit was his favorite city.
I like Detroit. And I really oh yeah. It was a little ratchet, but it's like whatever you think ratchet is Baltimore, add 10%. Okay. You got Detroit. Right. But
are they worse than us?
Yes. Dude, they knocked over a light pole.
How come that stuff doesn't get reported? Because wait a minute, Detroit's ahead of us in all the negative categories.
Yeah.
Okay, sure. I'm sorry.
What's that?
For the most part.
But yeah, I really this is the first year I will say I left night 1 hyped, ready for night 2.
Oh boy.
Most of the time, y'all know I always say I don't like the doubles. I would prefer just in one shot, because it's like, now we got to do this again. But I'm
okay with the 2-shot thing. I never on the record. Have I on the record made that clear that I'm okay with 2 night WrestleManias? Maybe not.
And I had to think about it. I was walking. I think I was going to the store Monday morning, and I was like, okay, the last time I was home for a 2-show, like a 2-night show, was WrestleMania 37. So like 36 and 37 did feel fun because, got the grill out, we're going to run it back, whatever. But the exhaustion of, I think it was at a weekend, like I wish you would have been able to experience like the way me and Brother Hugh experienced. And Brother Hugh, I would love to know how he feels compared in Miami. It was building, right? We got there Thursday night, just had fun. Friday night, access. Friday during the day, fun, access at night. Saturday, fun, shopping, Hall of Fame at night. Sunday, tailgate, boom, it's the pinnacle. Here we are, right? So it just feels like you get robbed of that because it's like you blink and it's Saturday.
Was that the attack of the Tidy Whitey's WrestleMania? I get air horns for that. Thank you, Brother Hugh. Thank you for verifying that. Thank you.
You're funny.
Okay, just asking.
Because even though Orlando was the same thing, by the time we got to Orlando, NXT existed. So Hall of Fame was on a Friday. I went to that. I didn't go to NXT, but I hung out at Universal Park. Shout out to my cousin Addis. But again, it was the build-up. Sunday went to went and got breakfast, and then boom, tailgate WrestleMania. So that's the only thing. That's the reason why I'm not a fan of the 2 nights because I like that build and anticipation, and that's how I felt with SummerSlam this year. I'm like, oh, come on, bro. But this was the first time I left, and I said I am excited about tomorrow night.
Okay. Now, I don't think Brother Hugh
I guess
shares the
so.
same
It was that
sentiment.
trash first night.
I don't see. Here it goes. I knew it. Here it comes. Brother Hugh gets air horns for that. I knew it was coming. Now, Brian H., it's funny you mentioned that, is because you, and I've heard this from quite a few people that experience WrestleMania. Not all of them, but there's a good contingent that feels the way that you felt about it because you were there, right? You the experience of WrestleMania, because we talked about it last week. We talked about sometimes the experience is different than those who are watching. Now, from someone who watched the show, Brother Hugh, you were how do we say, radically vocal about the first night. You stop it. I'm trying to do a thing. You keep making me laugh. You were radically vocal about every time he takes a sip from the Marvin the Martian mug with that look. It's like, okay, here it comes. He's like revving up the hot takes. I feel it. This is Jeff Hardy all over again. You were radically vocal about night one. And you and here's how you know, for those who may not be familiar with Brother Hugh, but we want to make sure that you get to know us on a personal level. He every time he says, but let me go watch it again with a different view. I was like, oh, okay, clearly it's not tickling his fancy. He's not a fan of what he's looking at right now. When he has to go back and watch it again, or he has to vocalize, let me go back and watch it again with a different perspective. It's like, okay, he's not feeling it the first go around. You had quite a few things to say about it. Now, I'm curious, Brother Hugh, how did you feel as a fan being at home? And I preface this because we all walked this long road to WrestleMania and we had to get to this point. But you watched it. How did you feel about WrestleMania 42? I'm trying to be as dramatic as possible as I say this. In Las Vegas, night one, night two, overall. Let me just keep my fingers on the air horns just in case you say something that sizzles. Go ahead.
Well, when it comes
to
air
horns
for
that.
Move up closer. You got echo.
Oh my gosh. When it comes to night one,
we might be asking.
I didn't even go back and rewatch it. Just because it was boo-boo. It was 100% boo-boo.
Okay. All right, here we go. See, this is the thing. Then I gotta talk him off the ledge and try to see something different. So let's slow walk this, because this is Brother Hugh's hot takes. He needs his own segment called Brother Hugh. You just almost like the Angry Rat used to do back in the day, Brian H. We just dedicated that entire show to Brother Hugh. So knowing that it was 2 nights, are you judging just night one by itself, or do you look at it like, okay, this is just the boring part of the show because I know it's going to get exciting later? Or are you just like, nope, night one I judge it, night two I judge it, overall weekend I judge it? What are you thinking?
Well, it looks like, talking to Brother Brandon, it looks like 2 different PLEs. Let's be honest. Night one and night two. Night two definitely felt like WrestleMania. I don't know what night one was. That might have been WrestlePalooza.
I think you're onto something. I really do. Hold on. You get air horns for that.
Shout out to Brother Brandon once again for that. But yeah, it's definitely 2 different entities. But night one was just, first of all, we got started off with just ads and packages. That was the whole. I get it, but I'm like, come on, bro.
They said, hey man, listen, before we get this show started, we got these bills to pay.
And let me be fair, I didn't see those.
Yeah, of course not. You were there.
Exactly.
No, because sometimes they do run some of the
in between the commercial breaks.
Yeah, they'll run like some of the wrestling stuff. So,
all right.
But that was the one thing I did see on. I'm like, whoa,
yes, bro,
a lot, brother.
It was a lot.
They still on this. I'm gonna fast forward through. But go ahead. I just wanted to make sure
it's a lot, bro.
Honest about that.
It's a lot, and then I got PO'd because of the match times.
Sorry. Go ahead.
You're good. Okay. I was ready to smack somebody. So I don't know what was going on.
All right, my bad. My mistake. That was not a gimmick. That was literally a hiccup. Go ahead.
No, I was upset about the match times, and then just the quality overall. Like it was lackluster to me. It didn't hit the way I needed it to. Okay. Of course, the only 2 matches that really hit for me, I would say would be Seth and Gunther, of course. Yep. Seth and Gunther, of course, and then without the shenanigans in the beginning and the end, Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes. That match was fire. Okay. I'm not gonna include Stephanie, and Liv because the match was too short. But I do know why it's short. It was short now. So hopefully they get to run it back and do it back the right way.
Okay.
You know. But to me, it wasn't like we had our couple of moments here and there, your little viral moments, speed, Drew and Jacob. That was I was like, all right, cool. We got a unsanctioned match, but I felt like it should have been more to it.
Sure.
These guys been brawling for what, about a month on site.
And allegedly, one may or may not have knocked out the other's teeth. I'm just saying.
See, exactly. Dudes falling off a building and all that good stuff. And then we get into the ring, and then we did a couple of Slim Jim table spots and was like, hey, okay, that's it. All right. Like
we did not do ECW proud.
Exactly. You know what I mean? So like when it comes to night 2 with Finn and Dominic, I feel like Finn and Dominic, that was the same match as the Jacob and Drew match.
Okay.
You know what I mean? It was the same thing.
Way?
It was a no disqualification. It's a regular no disqualification match.
Oh,
and like I said,
for a street fight, they added some sauce onto it by calling it a street fight. But it was like, tables, kendo sticks, we go home.
Exactly. Like I said, unsanctioned means it means there should be more.
Sure.
There should be more to it. It should have been blood. They should have been fighting throughout the crowd. Shoot, they could have had to just put it in the Hell in a Cell and they could have went at it. But the only difference was, we had a toolbox and then we had to do our table spots for Slim Jim. That was about it. And I'm like, okay, all right. I'm happy with the result because Jacob deserves it. But, I'm like, all right, it could have been more to it.
All right.
But that's my night 1. I'm not going to go on too long about night 1 because it was trash. But Brother Brian, I'm eager to see what you have to say about it being that you was there.
No, you got to give us night 2. You got to tell us how you liked about the weekend.
Oh, you want me to go straight into night 2? I didn't know if you want to go night 1, night 2. But okay, night 2.
Yeah. I want you to go night 1. I want because here's what the fans need to hear about Brother Hugh. We need to hear how you looked at night 1. We need to hear how you looked at night 2, and we need to hear about how you looked at it overall. Is because you said something that I think is very, very key, and it's going to set us up for the conversation as we continue moving forwards. What you said that you were speaking to Brother Guy, and you said these WrestleManias felt like 2 different PLEs. Like one felt like a regular one, and the other one felt like WrestleMania. And I think that's crucial. And I think this is going to set the tone for the conversation later. So I want you to tell us how you felt about night 2, and then how you felt about it overall. Like okay, this is WrestleMania. You don't have to go into too deep because we're going to talk about it the entire night. But just what I mean, just overall, so people know from the very beginning.
Well, like I said, night 2 felt like WrestleMania. You got all of your moments. You got them out the way. Everything seemed like it was perfectly timed to a T. Like I said, my only beef was the Finn and Dominic match, which was much better to me than the Jacob and Drew match, but it was very similar to the Jacob and Drew match, which I said earlier. Man, Jade, she should have won. I didn't like that call, but it is night, fellas. It is what it is, I guess. Okay, all right. And then we get to the main event. Man, what can you say about the main event? Like, it's just pure entertainment, pure cinema. Those are 2 veterans that went in there and did what they supposed to do. They told a story. They only did 6 moves between each one of them. They literally did 6 moves the whole match.
It really was not a whole lot of It was not a. I think he's telling the truth though. It wasn't a whole lot of wrestling holds and you know what I mean,
right?
But they went out. Daniel Bryan with Ospreay.
Absolutely, but they went out there. They milked the crowd. They fed off the crowd. They did what they were supposed to do. They told that story, and I'm so glad that Roman won without anybody's help. Won clean. So,
oh boy.
So but overall,
I
would say night 1 was like a C. All right, night 2, I'll give it a B plus.
Okay.
So overall, I guess what, a B minus, B, somewhere around that area.
All right, that's not bad. That's about 3.0 GPA. All right, so Brian H.
I gotta ask, Brother Hugh, greatest WrestleMania of all time, in your opinion, off the top of your head, your favorite?
Well, it's going to be 40. It's going to be 40 because I was there. Yeah.
You saying greatest or favorite?
No,
greatest or favorite?
Oh no, right now it's 40 because I was there in first of all, it was 2 nights. It was very special to me for personal reasons, you know.
Yeah.
But if I take all of that out,
that was a comeback mania for Brother Hugh.
Yeah,
don't call it a comeback. You get air horns for that.
I would still lean towards 40. It would be between 28 and 40 for me because, like, once again, I was there. But I would lean more towards 40 because the match card was better than 28. Even though 28 was my first one. So, but
this is going to sound weird. My favorite WrestleMania access was WrestleMania 28 that you guys went to because they never did it the same way in WWE World. Like Brian H., when I saw all his footage, I was like, I have to get to WrestleMania so I can experience this. And it's nowhere to the standard that it used to be. Just a little side note. That's okay.
Shout out to Fanatics, though. They do. And shout out to my guy, Arden, who's working with WWE World. They do got some of the added some cool stuff where you could like jump in the ring and like do flips and stuff. Like they had Javon Evans doing that. And
bro,
of course,
it's it's not better than 28.
No, I'm saying the WWE World.
I'm talking about that ring spot. Hold your thought. I'm talking about that ring spot. Is because this is why I said that. Is because we have footage of you. You got an actual ring with an actual foam pit. Like it was effort and money put into that gimmick. Versus this time, it was like a jump pad and like half the side ropes. Right. In my mind, I'm thinking I saw the footage from 28 with Brian H. He got in a full ring, and it was a full 20 by 20, and it was crash pad, the little foam blocks in there. And I'm like, this is amazing. Then I saw it this year, and I was like, bro, so you gonna give me a turnbuckle, 3 ropes, and a crash pad?
I feel like WrestleCon killed it.
Do tell. We haven't even gotten the show started, but I'm intrigued.
Yeah, I remember when we went to the first WrestleCon, WrestleMania 29, right?
Is this the one you saw Hogan in the bathroom?
Yes.
Gotta wash your hands, brother.
I didn't see him in the bathroom. Remember, they wouldn't let me in, but
no, he was leaving out, right?
Yeah.
And then
I didn't realize that
you gotta wash your hands, brother.
But
did you shake his hand?
No, he was no.
Okay, I was just making sure.
Were they wet or
he probably didn't wash his hands. He probably didn't wash them.
Nah, he had to get back to his line at 600 people.
So you saying he didn't wash his hands?
Yeah, he didn't wash his
hands.
hands.
I don't know.
Okay.
I mean, the thing about it, I remember being there and having the access.
Was he dressed like Thunderlips?
Shut up. The access you had to the wrestlers, right?
Yeah.
And shout out to Glenn and Corey. And I just remember them saying, like, yo, I don't think I want to go back to access. Because like WrestleCon was granted it was new, but you got to think too where the indies was at this time.
Hold on. So that was, what do you mean new? Because this is new information that I didn't have.
So yeah, WrestleMania 29 was the first ever WrestleCon.
Really?
Yeah, I
did not know that. Okay.
Oh yeah. It was the first ever WrestleCon, Wrestle Convention. The first match that took place ever, Mia Yim versus Awesome Kong, 12 o'clock. Shimmer got their show started because then as soon as Shimmer was over, you got to see Chikara, and then there was a bunch of other shows and they were in and out. But then you had so many wrestlers in different places. And mind you, that's when I interviewed Eugene. Y'all can check that right out on the Wrestling Realm YouTube channel. That's right here. Athena, you could barely hear that interview, but it's up there. But it was so much that you could do. And it just felt like it was much easier because you ain't had to pay like a lot of arms and legs just to talk to legends. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, of course.
I met the Natural Butch Reed, Goldust, the Mean Street Posse interviews up there too. So that's what I do remember vividly about that. And I feel like access was never the same. I don't know when it took a turn where they decided they had to rebrand it and stuff, but I do feel like it was just, even when I went in 33, it didn't feel like it had that same vibe, if that makes any sense.
Was it after the pandemic they started switching it up or before then?
Probably, because I definitely, because it became more like a museum. You know what I mean? Where before it felt like a convention, you go around jumping on stuff. It felt like adult Chuck E. Cheese that or David Buster's. Now
that's what I wanted to experience based off the footage that you took, which we will see at some point, ladies and gentlemen. I promise you.
Yeah. So
hint, hint. But you said your brother Hugh's favorite WrestleMania is WrestleMania 40 for obvious, well, not obvious, but for special reasons, personal reasons. Brian, as you said, it was your favorite WrestleMania was this year you experienced it. So we're going to get into all that and more. We have to continue with the show. Clearly you guys felt strongly about this because all I did was ask you guys how you felt about everything, and this is where we are. So we are going to keep everything rolling because we have to get into the details about WrestleMania. Brian H has notes. There's so many nuances that we have to talk about, as well as the details that we may have overlooked, and many people have probably overlooked them as well. But once again, you have the wrestling room here to have these conversations, and we have to get into the main event of our show as we progress into the next chapter of the wrestling year, I guess we can call it, because Jacob Fatu has challenged Roman Reigns, and I'm terrified because, like I said, we have to bring back another season of As the Bloodline Turns, with Brian H being our resident soap opera expert.
Yeah, Jacob done lost weight.
Yeah, I know, right? But this is a special year for the wrestling realm, is because we are celebrating 15 years. 15 years of superior wrestling intellect, lots of shenanigans. We've been doing this for a while. And we kept saying before WrestleMania started this year, this was going to be hopefully a good WrestleMania, a very special one, because this is always going to be marked in an anniversary year for us. Our 15th year anniversary, to be very specific. But we want to thank everybody for supporting us and following us all this time. We're growing. Brian H met not just one, but two wrestling realm fans out there in Las Vegas. Take that. I'm not going to say any names, but it's like we met quite a few people out there. A lot of people looking for the wrestling realm. Brian H got a chance to mingle and meet and greet with some of those people. But for those that may not be familiar with what we've done in the last 15 years, trust me, we will catch you up. We have a few projects, so many things we want to get into as we celebrate. But if we want to just take a quick moment to say, hey, well, what the heck were these guys doing for the last 15 years? It's okay. Take a quick look at this. There you have it. So stay tuned to all of our social media platforms. Trust me, we are just getting started as we celebrate this year. But let's not waste any more time. Let's just jump we weren't really wasting any time, but let's not waste any more time. Let's ask our co-hosts Apollo Creed and Rocky Balboa, to do us the ceremonious honors by helping us getting the show started. So let's just ring the bell. So gentlemen, can you help us start the show on a proper foot by ringing the bell, please, and thank you.
Want to ring the bell? Ding, ding.
Every week on the Wrestling Realm Now podcast, we do a segment known as What Did You Watch? Now, what exactly does it mean when we ask the question, well, what did you watch? The brothers and I, we constantly consume so much professional wrestling, but it's also a chance for us to catch up on pretty much what we watched this week. Now, it's kind of obvious what we watched this week, and we're not going to waste much time getting into it, but we hope that you all use promo code Wrestling Realm with our friends at SeatGeek, and hope we saved you a few dollars on your Wrestling Realm tickets. But like I said, gentlemen, I asked the question, what did you watch? Brought to you by good friends at SeatGeek. If you're looking to purchase tickets to concerts, live shows, sporting events, and more, head over to SeatGeek.com, where you can use our promo code Wrestling Realm for any one-time purchase of $50 or more. That's promo code Wrestling Realm on any one-time purchase of $50 or more. What did you watch? We already know. Fellas, I purposely did not put up a whole bunch of graphics this week. It's because there's way too much going down. And we all know what the heck we watched. Mm-hmm. We watched WrestleMania. We watched everything leading up to the road to WrestleMania. We got 2 intense nights of action-packed pro wrestling. Some fans loved it, some fans didn't. But we've got to talk about a few things. WrestleMania 42 in Las Vegas as a whole, night 1, night 2, etc. Brothers, where do you want to begin? Brian, if you have notes, I'm curious to hear what you have to say about this year's WrestleMania is because to me there's a natural divide. There's a divide between those who watch from home and those who experienced it live and in living color. Now, one thing I noticed, I watched it and I kept saying, as much of there's been talk about WrestleMania having a hard time selling tickets, it sure as heck looked like it was 50,000 plus people on 2 nights. Like, I mean, maybe give or take a couple of seats, but it's not like you looked at that arena and said, this place isn't full. It was completely packed. And I was like, maybe we overanalyzed this year's WrestleMania a tad bit too much. Maybe we were overly critical because sometimes it didn't make sense. John Cena pretty much alluded to it. He said, look, we all know. Let's address the elephant in the room.
Yeah,
this road to WrestleMania has been quite confusing, but now it's time to deliver. Now, some people are... Go ahead.
I want to talk about that part because you brought up the seats, right?
Yes, sir.
And here's the thing I got to say. WWE is very, very good at camera angles.
That too.
Now, I'm not going to sit here and act like it was empty seats in there. But when you watch, when sitting in the arena, so I was, we all family here. You know, I was in the press box at first. So you got an overview of the whole, overview of the whole stadium. The angle in which you're up there, you're near the, you can see the entrance ramp, right? So where there was a lot of tarped off areas, those areas wasn't tarped off last year, right? Another key thing was it felt noticeably like a less amount of people when you walked around Las Vegas this year.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like leaving both nights for night one, I left out of the stadium and walked. Night one last year, I did like walk a distance, then got on the little tram thing. But night one this year, I walked all the way back to the MGM Grand where I was staying. And it was easy. Of course, you know, you're not running out of there, but it was moving. It wasn't like you stopping for a long time and whatnot.
It wasn't a whole lot of
so that was
okay.
So it was still packed, but it was way easy. People was moving. Like you remember last year, they had the video of so many people on that little none of that. So and then I remember we asked one of the Uber drivers, like, is it just us or is it less people? He was like, oh yeah. And one of the things he brought up was, you know, everything that's happening overseas. A lot of military people would use their vacation or some time off to go to WrestleMania, wherever it's at. And said they wasn't able to do that. So that was one thing. I did notice like a lot of people I would usually like all the usuals I would link up with didn't even come into the city. Even if they didn't go to Mania, they just wasn't in Las Vegas. But even at the show, I said, oh, they kind of moved the seats around. They kind of tarped off more of the area. So that they, you know, they hit that very well.
Okay, so
it was still more people than would it people. You know, a lot of people was being dramatic. Oh, they having a hard time selling tickets, whatever.
Right.
They did drop the prices, obviously. But it was still
was that all the way through Mania. That wasn't like a 2-day thing.
It was because I mean, prices was they wasn't really dropping the day of, not like Philly, you know what I mean?
Okay.
But they was expensive, but not. I guess it kind of came down to normal. You know, it's hard. Like I remember, like I said, I was watching WrestleMania 9 doc, and it was like they always wanted to make sure they had a $25 ticket. It was still at least $150. $100 to get in the door. They didn't have like a $60 or $70 ticket.
Shout out to WWE not showing a whole bunch of WrestleMania 9 footage this year. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
It is.
Yeah.
He ain't lying.
I left saying, now they got this stink off of Las Vegas.
Okay.
I said, because I was like, I know how I feel, but I know how the world feels about WrestleMania 9. And I felt 41 was such a dud. It felt like a transition / celebratory WrestleMania. I don't know. It just felt like I look at 41 like 21 and 11. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. Like WrestleMania 9, right?
Yeah,
no,
that's in there too.
Yeah.
No,
a little bit. Because he tried to
because
exclude those like that. Like that didn't belong in there.
Right.
9 in all honesty was a pump fake. If we being real, right?
Okay.
9 was a pump fake. Because we
was an air ball.
Like, all right.
Because it was in a parking lot.
Right.
No, because it's like you going into a new era, but then you go back to Hogan.
So,
you know what I mean?
So they really didn't go into new era then, right?
Right, they didn't. But that was supposed to be the first. But they
didn't sell any tickets.
Hard time. So exactly. That's why I said it was the pump fake. Because you look at that card, it was supposed to be more. It was supposed to take us to the new generation, the way 10 did, right? Yeah. But you still had people like Money Inc. versus the Mega Maniacs. You know, still Mr. Perfect was supposed to help. Yeah, Mr. Perfect was supposed to usher Luger in. You know, I don't know what Giant Gonzalez or Undertaker was supposed to be doing, but Bob Backlund was supposed to usher Razor Ramon in. You know, so it was.
I forgot that match existed. For what?
Yeah, so that was the thing, right? But I felt like this year, so I just, you know, there's always going to be the discrepancy of good versus bad, or you know, in person versus not. I looked at night 1 again. I haven't finished it all the way through. But I'm like, I don't know. Here's my hot take. I'm not even a hot take. This is my personal opinion, and this is not fair. I know I'm about, but people gonna say it's not fair. I think a lot of people had an issue with it because of the amount of women's matches. Because
too many or not enough?
Too many, in their opinion.
Really?
They had 3 women's matches, and I'm sitting there looking. I was like, okay, what does everybody say was so bad about it, right? Now I know how Brother Hugh feel about the Bellas. Paige's pop. So funny story. I'm in the press box at this point still, right? I jumped when I heard that music. I was already pissed because I had made a prediction that she would come back, but I had penciled her in to get involved with AJ and Becky Lynch, right? But you know, it kind of got out, and then when the music hit, I popped. And I remember these people, they was clearly like some local media looked at me like, and I was like, whatever, you know, because we don't have the same rules. Yeah, we don't have the same rules that they have in NFL and NBA. But I was happy. And you know, the match, I was entertained by that one, right? So I was like, going in, and remember, I have low expectations going into this show. It's 2 matches that I'm really excited for, right? As far as having expectations for, like these people are going to deliver, and that's Oba and Brock and Roman and Punk. Everything else was like, it is what it is. We'll see what they give me.
Sure.
So that was my approach, right?
Sure. Yeah.
I sat down with Austin Theory on Friday. He said, "Be ready, because Speed gonna show us some stuff." Right? Not gonna say he really impressed me, but he's also a celebrity. I recognize everybody's not Logan Paul and Bad Bunny. So as far as I was concerned, Speed did what he had to do. It built to,
by the way.
Bingo.
Yeah.
And there was things I had to go back because I was looking, but I was still upstairs, so I'm looking more at the screen. Yeah, and I was like, okay, he's doing what he's supposed to do, the facial reactions, expressions, because the story was he didn't want to be on their team.
Bingo, exactly. He got that by mistake. He was cursed.
Did what he was supposed to do, right?
Yeah.
I understood what Brother Hugh was saying about Jacob and Drew. Even I talked to Muscle Man Malcolm, and he's a big Jacob guy, and he was just like, yo, I wanted more. I wanted more violence. And I was like, okay. I said, I can understand where you're coming from. And I talked to Drew on the red carpet, and I said, look, man, they took your main event. So, but you got the responsibility to convert people into subscribers. He said, get ready, because it's going to be violence like you've never seen before. And some parts, I was like, oh, okay, you know, but I didn't realize the times, Matt, the short times until I pulled out the phone. I was like,
moving pretty fast with these, aren't we?
Because you know, a lot. It's just it was to me the show was moving, and in my head I'm like, oh, we going out tonight, shorty. You know, so that means we hanging out. That's all.
And for the record, what time did the show start in Las Vegas? Because for us, it started at 6 p.m. Eastern time.
Exactly.
What time did it start for you guys? Because post show and after, see, it was an afternoon show. And post show, the sun was still out. I said, oh, we chilling.
And it wasn't even like that last year. It was getting darker last year.
Mm-hmm.
So mine was about this. It's the same weekend. So I'm watching and I'm like, all right, I have to say this. Mm-hmm. Wasn't excited about Becky and AJ. I enjoyed the match more.
That's the one I was going to ask you about.
I just rewatched it because that was the match I was kind of moving. I got seated, but I was like, okay, this is not as bad as I thought it was going to be. I knew, Ref Jess spot, and I'm predicting that the homie, shout out to Jess. I think there's no, we had to take it down because she got hired by WWE, so we had to take the interview down.
See?
You see, being a good friend, being a good brother. Mm-hmm. I said, brother, but. I enjoyed that match. I was like, okay, Jess is the next Intercontinental Champion. Like, we're going to see that transition. I know she's been working down there on Brother Hughes' program Evolve, with a mask on. She getting ready. So, I just didn't understand. The only thing that left me confused about night one was the finish. And I was sitting there like, now, I understand how Brother God thinks. I understand what he was saying. I don't agree. And I also understand it's a little skewed because, I was there. But what I will say is this is probably the most unbalanced WrestleMania where...
That's probably the word.
That's it.
You take out the Bianca moment.
I'm going to address that. Go ahead.
Put that on night 2, right? You put the Bianca moment on night 2. It's like, oh, that's a perfect WrestleMania, right? I don't take away a match. I guess if you had to take away one from night 2 and switch, it would be Finn and Dom. If you had to take one, right? Mm-hmm. And you switch it with Rollins and Gunther, and then boom, you got SmackDown and WrestleMania, maybe. Mm-hmm. But that idiot that comes on that does a podcast.
You talking about yourself?
In Las Vegas.
Who does a podcast in Las Vegas?
The idiot that does a podcast in Las Vegas. Mm-hmm. Who all of a sudden wants to get in our world and do what we do. Mm-hmm. Cameron. I think he set the tone for the weekend. Mm-hmm. With the Saturday, we didn't have a conversation about this word off the air, so I can't say it. But about the Saturday versus the Sunday.
Okay, all right.
And I think that kind of also crept into some people's heads.
Kind of stirred the pot a little bit, didn't it?
Yeah. Now, shout out to Sam Roberts. If y'all go to his video, I knew somebody was probably recording, but we was all celebrating as the tribal chief regained back to the throne. But yeah, I was like, oh snap, I'm in that video.
So one of the things you said, Brian Nance, you said unbalanced. And I like that word. Is because a lot of people felt that way. So it's not like the majority didn't probably look at it that way. But here's my thing. Let me just say this. Let me preface this by telling you my thoughts and views on WrestleMania this year. I had absolutely no problem with any of it. Don't get me wrong. It wasn't perfect by any standards. But I think I'm older now. And because I'm older now, I'm like, you know what? I'm satisfied as a wrestling fan. So everything else is kind of like icing on the cake. Whatever they give me, if whatever you give me is extra, it's already better than I expected it to be, right? And you look at night one, and I had no problem with any of it. Understandably so, everything was short. I was watching it knowing wrestling fans are going to have a problem with it, right? I was watching. I said, yeah, this is probably going to rub people the wrong way. And don't get me wrong.
When did you feel that way? I want to know because there has to be a moment where.
Let me see the card. Hold on. It was what match? It was the women's match. When Stephanie Vaquer and Liv Morgan's match was short. See, first it was Jacob Fatu and
oh no, brother, Hugh's camera went out.
It's all good. He'll get back. It was when Jacob Fatu and Drew McIntyre was like, okay, there's a short, but I figured, big card. And then when the women's match was short, I said, okay, so I've noticed 3 matches that kind of went by fast. I noticed the tag match went pretty fast. And I was like, okay, but this, I was giving it all as an excuse because of the ESPN thing. That's already different, right? It's like, oh, they're giving us free Sunday night heat action.
Let me write that down.
See, it's good. And I was like,
I got a question.
Okay, good. And I was like, okay, I noticed but I'm also aware of the landscape in which we are watching pro wrestling in today's frame. And I think I'm so old, I just accept it for what it is. You know what I mean? So it's like, okay. So I had no problem with it. But also when I look at it, night one, I'm also looking at it knowing, hey, I got a night 2. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, well, this is kind of if this is the warm-up, this is a good warm-up. Because sometimes when you go to a concert or you go to an event or a comedy show, there's an opening act. And the opening act is usually never supposed to be better or as good as the headliner. It's supposed to be like, oh, okay, this person's funny right here. We're not here to see this person per se, but eventually this person's going to be a big deal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Kevin Hart's not opening up for anybody anymore, but at some point he probably did. So that's how I look at it. I'm like, well, shoot, if this is if night 1 was the only card, I'd be like, WrestleMania was okay. I really wasn't impressed with it. Because the way they do PLEs, they make WrestleMania like events all year round now. You know what I mean? When they go to these certain places, when they do these B-level pay-per-views in these other countries, they build them up like WrestleManias. Maybe not the matches, but the presentation, right? But I'm like, all right, well, shoot, we get a night 2. So if this is night 1, I'm just warming up. This gets my wrestling gets going and warmed up because I'm like, okay, cool. This is all right. Night 1 was cool. And I started to notice something. I said, I wonder if they do this on purpose. Like, I wonder if this is intentional. For instance, there's a reason why Asuka can never main event or start shows or be in prominent spots in WWE. Is a reason why EO Sky can't be in those spots either. It's because nobody wants to follow them if they really get into their bag. You give EO 20 minutes, you give Asuka 20 minutes, you're in trouble. Because at some point you have to
evolution.
You have to follow that. Right? She proved it when she had the match with Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania. And I'm like, you could have probably left the show at this. We didn't need anything else after this. Like, that's how good she is. So we all know that there sometimes is protocol where they cut things in half to say, okay, well, look, we don't want you to outshine it because we want people to, because it's a team event, right? We want people to leave with this one thing on their brain. So we're not going to give you 40 minutes for Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes because we're not here at this WrestleMania to tell this story. This is just the beginning. We're starting a new one. You know what I mean? So it comes with these perspectives that I can't help but have a superior wrestling intellect approach to watching it where I naturally make an excuse for what I'm watching. Right? So when you watch certain things, for me, I'm like, okay, cool. This is short. It's short for a reason. It isn't just, why didn't they do this? It's like, well, it's probably just trying to tease you a little bit. WrestleMania used to be the payoff for everything in our minds. And we have been predictable as wrestling fans because we're conditioned. And that's natural. We've seen things one way for a long period of time, but it's like we've seen WrestleMania say, no, this is for some, this is the beginning, or this is a part 1. It's going to be a part 2 and 3. And it's got a payoff down the road. It doesn't necessarily mean that but we look at WrestleMania a certain type of way. So when I looked at night 1 was everything that was not permanent. Right. So it was like, okay, cool. This is just cool. If you look at all these things like Jacob Fatu and Drew, that was just, let's just close this chapter because we got to move on, right? Look at Rollins and Gunther. You feel me? That wasn't meant to be nothing permanent because Braun Breaker came back. We got to pick that back up again. You look at the the women's tag fatal 4-way. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, cool. We're still building the lineage of the tag team champs. Of course, we want to have Nia Jackson, Lash Legend, have it for 580 days, but that may not be the purpose. So you see, I'm constantly looking ahead. When I'm like, I know what direction you're going in based off the result. I guess that's probably the best way to put it. So I just take what they give me because I know there's going to be a tomorrow. It's not like, that's not what I wanted. I'm pissed. That makes no sense. It's like, yeah, it's not going to make sense now. It's because I'm the kind of person, I hate when you get 3 pieces to a puzzle and you want to solve it. Like, bro, we don't have all the pieces yet. So that's how I looked at night one all the way through at AJ and Becky Lynch. But I realized that it was a lot of rush movement. And then we got Rollins and Gunther. I said, okay, so we're going to they put 2 ring generals in the ring and they go to war. And I was like, this wasn't even supposed to be a match. This was last minute and it was the best match on the card, but they gave them that time. And of course you had
Rhodes. And they still got cut their time short.
Yeah.
And that's the crazy part, right? And then you had Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton. And I was like, okay. That was Pat McAfee's send-off. We thought it was about Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes. I'm like, oh no, Pat McAfee was just retiring from WWE and they wanted to do right by the guy for all the help that he's done as far as making WWE crossover. We thought it was about Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes. Like, well, it's not really. And I don't know if that's going to be revisited. I'm sure it will be, but it also set up the night after Raw for a potential tease. But clearly that's just the beginning. It's not the end.
See, the thing is, I'm glad you brought that up, right? Because I mean, shoot, we could do a whole show on night ones versus night twos. But I think what a lot of people just don't understand is like they're connected, right? Because what you don't want to do is you're trying to maximize your money, right?
Bingo.
And you don't want people to sit up there and think, oh, I can only go to one night. But you still give them enough where it's like, if you could only afford one night, you could feel satisfied in a sense, right? Like if you like I said, like night one was more women was featured, and that's what I was like, dang, y'all really don't like none of them, I thought they had great stories, and I thought the matches were good. First of all, I never asked y'all this. How do y'all feel about Liv Morgan's song?
Bro, Britney Spears 2001.
Exactly. That's
So many people hate it. I don't love the song in a sense of I'm gonna rock it on my.
That's not going in the gym playlist.
Yeah, but I like it in a sense for her and her interest.
It's meant to piss people off. Like when I heard it, I was like, "Oh yeah, he's trying to piss everybody off."
Yeah,
that's her character.
My daughter, 100%. Who's that's one of her favorite wrestlers. She said, "Nah." She gave it to Dusty.
Dang.
Give me the other music. But because like you think back to a lot of previous night ones, right?
Kevin Owens, she gave it to Dusty. Hold on. This is for Ariana.
No, baby, that's for somebody else. We're just gonna keep you right where you at right now.
You sit back, you think back to old WrestleManias, and you think like Kevin Owens and Stone Cold. You're not as good as it was. When you have the most stupendous WrestleMania, you're not supposed to close your weekend with that. You know what I mean?
You're talking about as far as Kevin Owens, Stone Cold Steve Austin, right?
Yes, because you didn't know what you was going to get out of Stone Cold.
It wasn't even advertised.
Yeah.
Because exactly, right?
To manage expectations. That's what they say.
Manage expectations.
When to manage expectations.
Boy, I remember them days.
Yeah.
I knew that was Sid's son. Sid's son looked like a cross between if Sid and Kane had a baby.
That was it. Could you not tell by the Jerry Curl or how?
Because I kept seeing. You know how you keep seeing somebody around, and then like I was on the floor and I saw him. I was like, "Yo, he gotta be." And then he had a Sid shirt on. I said, "I knew it. I knew he had to be Sid's son."
He's got that Sid Isaac Yankovic jump off going on.
He does. Definitely does.
I see people running after Kane. Like funny story. I'm getting.
This
is after the Hall of Fame.
I hear it.
Yeah, it was at the Hall of Fame. I went to the little, you know how in the hotel lobby, and the lady in front of me was like sitting there about to pay for her stuff. She go, "Oh, it's Kane." She takes off running. The lady, wait, she ain't paid for her stuff. And I was like, "Come on, yo!" So I had to wait for all this just for and all because this lady wanted to chase Kane.
It's Kane, bro. What you talking about?
Yeah,
That's what I was waiting for.
Like, come on, bro.
Poor guy was trying to get away. But yeah, that was the thing. Like I looked at night one as like just one of them. I guess because again, you said it best too, realness. When you know you're gonna get another night, it's the appetizer.
Yeah, I guess that's how I felt. I was like, okay, this is a good way to start the weekend. All right, this is good.
And I guess because last year we had a night one main event that could have closed the show, probably would have with a title on the line if it wasn't for being John Cena's farewell tour. You know, any other situation, that's your world title match. And then you also open. Did they open night one? They opened night one with the world title.
Yeah.
You know, so it did feel a little bit more balanced, you know. Yeah, if you write Prototype, boo the fans, they was getting in my way. I know that for sure. They was swarming everybody. Wrestling fans, stop being weird.
Just can't shed that reputation, can we?
Yeah, you know, unfortunately, they're not the ones that listen to podcasts too much.
Right.
But yeah, so that's the way I saw it, and so it made me hype. It just made me hype for night two.
That's how I felt. I'm like, okay, this is night one. All right, did we get a whole nother pay? Like in the past, the Saturdays have been like an NXT takeover, right? And as good as those
warm-up show.
Yeah, like those as good as those takeovers were, I'm like, well, we weren't as mad at the NXT takeovers because it was NXT. You know what I mean? But I'm like, Saturday night they give us a full-blown card that might be like on a Saturday night's main event or just another regular PLE, and they just like we're getting two for the price of one. Well, not really for the price of one.
Shinsuke versus Sami Zayn, WrestleMania 32.
No, that match was different.
Or that takeover 30, you know.
Yeah, no, and it was even then, you know what I mean? It was like, oh my goodness, like this is it. We're heading to this transition because Sammy was on his way to the main roster, right? So Saturday was like, okay, all right. Like I wasn't mad at everything, but what I do is now is like I said, I analyze the results based off, okay, cool. Like that's like my mind is a constant, like it's never sitting still. It's like, okay, it's continual. So whatever result I get is like, all right. Like I said, if this was it, I probably would have been like, all right, come on, that was a little bit, you know, because that's how I felt. Have like WrestleMania, like what was it, 27? That was kind of that way, and I was like, dang, that's it. Like, all right, I felt like there was more left to be desired, but it's like, shoot.
And I thought that had a great build-up.
I mean, it was. It's just like, all right, I don't remember much of 27. Like, if I go back and watch it, I'll be like, oh, yeah, I remember that. But it didn't lead the overall show. I know about The Rock and Cena and, you know, and The Miz. But, like, the overall show didn't leave that press on me to make me go, oh, my goodness, this is one of my WrestleManias. Because the majority of the card was enjoyable for me enough to say, I'm going to go back and watch this again, right?
I remember feeling sucked. It was over. Like, let's just watch.
That's actually a conversation we had because I was at a watch party. That's actually a conversation we had as far as just, you know, like as far as night one being so weak compared to night two. Yeah, there wasn't that sense of balance, like you said. Yeah. We're so used to having that sense of balance. Look at 40, look at 41. You know what I mean? Like that even flow. So for us to get, I was like, look, all right. It kind of felt like an appetizer after I got, you know, through all of my emotions, you know.
Sure, you're
I kind of did look like, I was like, hold on, they're teasing us right now because something big is getting ready to come. Yeah. But when I was talking to my guys while we was watching the show, it was kind of like, well, what about those people that can't make it to both shows? What about those people that have to choose one night? You see what I'm saying? And I was like, you most likely gonna get a lot of people going for night two compared to night one. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, if I had to choose, honestly, especially when you see the cards, it's not like you don't know.
Well, I think honestly, if you're in that position, though, fellas, you're literally choosing that WrestleMania for your favorite wrestler.
Yeah, I guess so. Right.
You know, if you
both nights at 50,000 plus.
Yeah, so you're choosing for Cody or Randy. Shoot, you may be a Liv or Steph, or you're choosing those for your favorite or your majority wrestler. You know, if you're in that position, you know. So that's the reason why I look at it like, I don't want to say I don't feel sorry, because that sounds ignorant, but I think people who are in that position, they're literally, because there is a pricing, it is a price difference, but not that greater most of the time.
Sure.
So I think it's one of those things like, all right, yeah, like Prototype said, night 2 ticket before night 1, because Punk was on it, you know. And I think that's the way you know, at least my thing is, what I don't like is that I don't feel like we know enough ahead of time.
Sure.
As far as that's concerned, you know, just thinking about the consumer. If you're not gonna make them even prices, you know, but I don't know how you handle that, you know. I think this one they sort of told us when they was making the graphics in general, but yeah, that's how I feel.
So last question.
Trouble.
No. Last question before we got to move forward. Brother Hugh, do you think you talked about night 1 felt like kind of a warm-up? There's a question I asked Brian H earlier in the show. I said, do you think that was intentional? It's because we grew up on wrestling being kind of the wild, wild west. It was competitive. In McMahon's eyes, hey, look, if the locker room is uneasy, that means everybody's going to try to outdo each other, and then we'll get the results for the best show. Versus now, the culture backstage is a tad bit differently, where everybody's a little bit more team oriented. So it's like, hey, do you think it was a situation where they say, look, man, they may not say this to everybody, but hey, look, we've booked this show on this way for a reason. Not like, hey, look, we're gonna book the best version of WrestleMania night 1 and the best version of night 2, and whatever has the best night, we'll just run with it. It's like, no, it's like, look, we have to get all the advertising and stuff done out early, which is why we have 2 nights. It's because we want people to go home after night 2 feeling like, oh my goodness, I'm full of WrestleMania. Like, I've got my money's worth. Do you think it's intentional that way? You know, we talk about all the business practices that are involved now, or do you just feel like, I don't know, just it regardless, it didn't meet up to expectations, whatever they want to put out?
It's crazy because I think it didn't meet up to expectations, but one thing that WWE does is everything they do it for a reason.
I'm thinking the same thing.
You see what I'm saying? Like they leak information, they
definitely
false information, they do all that extra stuff. The documentaries, all that good stuff. They do it all, right? So when you come to say like, all right, night 1 was a little bit weaker than night 2. It was kind of like a teaser. I can see that, and I actually thought about that. Like I said, once I came down off of my little high, because I was like,
you're allowed.
I'm like, come on, bro, like, come on. But I thought about that. I was like, hold on, they did this for a reason, because night 2 was about to be fire.
Yeah,
they're about to, and lo and behold, they started off hot. 2 major moments right off top.
Yeah, that we were not expecting.
Exactly, within like 10 minutes of the show. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Minus the advertisements, but yeah.
Well,
so it made sense, and you know, at the end of the day, we had been conditioned to think about WrestleMania, like you said earlier, as a payoff.
Yeah.
Right. And what we got to this year was basically a lot of stories being built for Backlash or after WrestleMania.
Yeah.
So we're just not used to that as wrestling fans. So it's just something we have to get used to now, especially with the different booking and TKO getting involved and whatnot. So
the business stuff, and the advertising, the celebrities, and the sponsorships.
Absolutely, it's a new world. We got social media. Social media changed everything.
Big time.
So it is what it is.
I also think too, we've been booking towards like it's the payoff, but there's been a lot of great moments where they're telling us the future. You know, where they're showing us this is where we're going.
What do we
mega
call
powers?
What are these cues that they're doing? Like, do we have a term in production that like kind of refers to what you're talking about? Like when you, it's like when you want to show these cues on purpose, but you don't announce it, but you're doing things to kind of like let your audience know, hey, this is kind of what we're doing.
Not Easter eggs, is it?
Maybe that is a term. Easter eggs. I think that's probably it. Easter eggs. They kind of drop these Easter to kind of let you know what's
foreshadowing.
Foreshadow. There it is. See, we know you're an intelligent being.
Yeah, because like you think about it, right?
You get air horns.
We got Rock Austin.
Yep.
Right. And that was the beginning. But if people was paying attention, everybody saw The Rock starting to get cheered. Like he had that initial boo, and then boom, here come more cheers. So you knew.
Or remember at that Rumble, the previous Rumble from the previous in '98, when The Rock was the last person in the ring with Austin, and Austin said like that was his kind of audition. He was like, I think we kind of got something here. And I remember I didn't hear him say that until years later on a documentary when I was grown. But I remember feeling that when I went back and watched the tape from Hollywood Video back when I was a kid, and I was like, oh, this looks like The Rock might, you know what I mean? They look pretty even in the ring, but Rock, I knew him as against Triple H and DX and Nation stuff, but when he went toe to toe with Austin, I was like, he looks pretty even. And I'm watching this as a child, feeling that way, and to hear Austin confirm that years later. So yeah, the foreshadowing you were referring to.
Yeah, shoot. And then so many other opportunities where we see in the end, or the continuation or the new story. Look at Seth Rollins last year, So I think a lot of times, and that's what I had to remember in that moment when I was like, yo, what the heck just happened? Like a lot of us, first of all, Cody wins and it's cheers.
Right.
And I'm talking almost WrestleMania 40 cheers.
Okay.
And I was confused.
Come on, this year?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I recorded it.
Got it.
I don't remember it coming out cross like that on TV, but okay.
I wouldn't be surprised if it didn't, because it was like, 1, 2, 3. And it was like, wait, they're cheering this? And I think it was because like when he hit the low blow, people was cheering, but they was booing. And it was like, wait, is he finally going to snap and turn heel? So there was that aspect to it. But now, granted, it wasn't death-defying cheers, but there were cheers. I was surprised because I was rooting for Randy because I wanted to see, and glad Justin's right there to say that, I wanted to see a title change. But then Randy started doing Randy and all that. I said, oh. And I was just like, wait, what just happened? And then I think by the time I went, and shout out to the place Nelly's because I had some good old catfish. So I sat down and I was like, oh, okay.
See, it hit you.
On the story. Yeah. And I was like, God dang it. I ain't want no new story right now. I wanted to see Randy get the record. Yeah, but I also feel like Randy might not have another title right now.
He might not, because we all know that being in the main event or the title picture sometimes is just enough. It lets the world and your audience know, hey, I'm still here. So it's like we're programmed to look at certain guys a certain type of way. And like I said, Randy Orton being in the main event of WrestleMania is Randy Orton.
And you're building Cody Rhodes' WrestleMania resume.
I was thinking the same mother-freaking thing, bro.
Done, right? He could say he defeated Roman Reigns at WrestleMania.
I'm glad
he
you said it first.
Randy Orton at WrestleMania. He defeated Seth Rollins at WrestleMania. And he defeated John Cena at SummerSlam.
See, that's a big deal. Especially somebody that's like one of your staples.
And the reason why a lot of times it may be hard for people to see it that way is because we saw Cody so young. We saw him go through and drown in the mid-card for all intents and purposes, and then come back and it's like, oh man, y'all just giving him the world, y'all shoveling him. But it's like, if you wasn't there in 2007 to 2014, then you wouldn't 13, you wouldn't understand it.
Right.
You wouldn't understand this journey. And I'm sounding like, but he went through so much. So all of this he is earned, not given.
Also, that first loss at WrestleMania, that kind of set the tone as well. But one year you beat Seth Rollins, and then the next year you come in and, like I said, I was part of the group that said, okay, it makes sense. Why wouldn't he win now? But it was like, no, there's more to the hero's journey, as he kind of often alludes to it as. Like, you got to build some momentum. And
look
like
who he had to go through.
Yeah, I mean, out of all things. And he reminds me of his father, the hero's how many times did Dusty Rhodes lose to Ric Flair before he finally won? How many times was he shortchanged by the Four Horsemen? Like that was a build up because they knew like, oh, once we get this and we get people, locked in, by the time Dusty won, the world was so ready for it. You know what I mean? And even it wasn't a super long reign, it got the point across. You know what I mean? It wasn't done that way so Dusty Rhodes could be the next big draw. We're like, no, this is what we're telling the story, and this is one of the crucial
pieces. You know who was supposed to get one of those long that build up? David Von Erich.
Well,
David Von Erich was supposed
now
to
you're going to deep cuts.
Yeah, Flair said it. He was like, oh yeah, he was supposed to get the title. We all know what happened, and then boom, that's why Kerry get it. But he wasn't dependable. But they literally did it for the pop. Texas Stadium.
It was for the moment.
Mm-hmm.
And I think sometimes as pro wrestling fans, we tend to lose perspective on that. Is because if we already have in our minds made up, oh, Randy Orton's supposed to get the belt right now, so they can make sure that he has 15. It's like, well, that might not be the agenda in this situation. So when it doesn't happen, there's a natural disgruntled, oh, that's not supposed to be this way because this is the moment he was supposed to get 15. And we're sitting there like, well, was he? What are they going to do?
John Cena told me that. He said, when we fantasy book, we make ourselves mad.
He said, yeah, he did say that a lot. And I'm glad he has no problem exposing these things because he's the one that's like, look, if we're going to expose stuff, let's expose everything. And sometimes the expectation, because of how we look and what we like, he's like, that's fans, that's natural, but it doesn't mean it's supposed to be that way. Says who? And I'm like, dang, John Cena's out here getting pro wrestling philosophical. He's someone that has superior wrestling intellect. He will be really good or not. He will fit in with us, fellas.
Hollywood make that happen.
Yeah, give him, text him, Brian Nation. I know you guys are good friends now.
Right.
Despite what we the reservations about Saturday, the reception for Sunday was much, much different. A lot of people felt like, okay, now this is the WrestleMania. You know what I mean? And don't get me wrong, I would rather have 2 nights because everybody on both cards, I can't imagine them not being on the show, right?
Right.
Or like imagine if this was one show and then the matches really be cut short. You know what I mean? We're going to have a 4-hour WrestleMania show and then everybody gets 2.5 minutes. I think we would still be upset because, I mean, we've dealt with that before. Like, oh, this person wasn't on there. Or I'll give you a prime example. Daniel Bryan and Sheamus, you know what I mean, on that pre-show. Or Neville and Austin Aries. They had match of the night in the pre-show. And then, you know what I'm saying? It's like, we would be just as upset if we said, okay, cool, we're going to fit all 13, 10, 12, 15 of these matches all on one card. And because it's going to be one night, we're going to have the greatest WrestleMania ever. But everybody only gets 2.5 minutes.
Let me ask you this real quick.
Yeah.
Because you said the words pre-show. Watch it from home. Did the first 2 matches feel like a pre-show?
Not at all. I did not think so.
Not to me, no.
Because there was
some people were saying that on the ground.
No,
like, oh yeah, that's the pre-show. It's like, you can't disrespect the match, call it a pre-show, yo.
I heard a couple people say that too, yeah. But
now, if they would have put like a cruiserweight championship or like a women's battle royal, you probably would have looked at it that way. But because you started out hot both nights, I was like, no, this is clearly a plan. And I think what they do is doing it that way, it kind of like takes away the need for a pre-show. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, let's start early, but how can we benefit from starting early without making our guys feel like curtain jerkers? You know what I mean? It's like, okay, well, once again, this is that TKO stuff. Let's do what's best for business. Let's give it away free on ESPN, the first 2 matches, give people tasters, get them hooked, because they, like Brother Guy said, when I talked to him on the phone, he said, man, his guy called him like, yo, why the heck is WWE all on ESPN everywhere? Yeah. And it began to re-spark this a million questions later. It's because an audience that is familiar with the WWE but may not be familiar with what's going on right now is like, why is this everywhere? Because now it's like, I'm not used to seeing pro wrestling on mainstream sports. Last time pro wrestling was on ESPN, it was the AWA. You know what I mean? Yeah. Now all of a sudden I'm seeing pro wrestling back in mainstream sports and it's everywhere and it's all week and everything I'm watching, they're talking about it. So it was like, okay, cool. We don't need a pre-show now. It's because we're going to give you the first 2 matches away free. And we're going to use these to say, like you said, let's see if we can bring in new subscribers. Let's get you so hooked and excited for these first 2 matches that now you're like, crap, let me go ahead and kick out this $39.99 a month. So
absolutely.
Limited plan.
I gotta see what's gonna happen in the main event.
Which they are saying very, very strategically now, because before they weren't saying you. It's if you got ESPN already, you probably got it. It's like now they're like, oh, you got to use the unlimited plan. Like, please make that very clear to everybody.
Yeah.
But like I said, Sunday night compared to Saturday night, how did you guys enjoy Sunday night? Like, brother Hugh, you've already made it clear, like, oh, this felt like WrestleMania. Is there anything in particular about Sunday that stood out versus Saturday? Is it the superstars? Is it the programming? Is it the timing of the matches? What was it that made Sunday feel so much stronger than it did on Saturday? And I say that is because if you look at the branding of 2-night WrestleManias, they looked different. Right. It, like, if you look at night one, they look like two different shows. And I'm like, okay, so there's clearly intention behind making one night look different than the other. But how did Sunday
This is also the first time they did that, where they did the color graphics, and of course there was a dirt sheet reported that it was they irritated the people backstage was irritated because they felt like all the branding wasn't matching, but we clearly see what that was probably somebody just talking or putting it out there, but we clearly see there was a reason why.
Yeah, it was like I said, having those big digital sets, you save money on props and building an actual set, because everything now is just so visually. And like I said, I always give credit to AEW, because that's where I saw it first, when they started doing like the tunnels with the screens and stuff on them. And then I think it was at All In Wembley Stadium or something like that, or All Out, or whatever was on Wembley. Yeah. And then like the next pay-per-view, WWE started doing it. But anyway, Sunday night versus Saturday night, what was different about it, brother Hugh, that made you feel like, oh yeah, this is it right here versus Saturday?
I think people look forward to night 2 because of just the booking of it. If you think about it, if you look at the card right now, you want to throw that back up for me real quick?
My fault. Yep.
If you look at the actual card, you can see, like, I feel like the majority of those matches had good buildups, great buildups, and people were looking forward to seeing the outcomes of these matches. Like, for instance, you have Oba and Brock. Enough said.
That was what I mean? And that was something everybody was waiting for.
Absolutely. Roman and CM Punk, of course, the upcoming of the Anointed One. You know what I'm saying? Finn and Dominic, that's been going on for about a year or so, or maybe longer, right?
Right. They got a little bit of history there.
Absolutely. The ladder match, it speaks for itself. It's just a huge spectacle. Plus, you have Javon Evans in there. Come on now. You have Penta in there. Like, it speaks for itself, as opposed to, I don't want to make it sound negative, but as opposed to night 1, I feel like night 2, it towers over that card on night 1. If you're just looking at it on paper, right?
Night 1, night 2 was for the.
But yeah, I do want to say one thing, and this is to all them haters and them gumps out there that be talking bad about Jade Cargill. Y'all cannot tell me that Jade Cargill did not. She went out there on WrestleMania and she went out there and she was hooping 100%.
Man, what?
She put on the show. Wrestling what? All right, y'all. Come on now. Stop playing with me. Jade went out there and she did her thing against Rhea Ripley. And I don't want to hear none of this mess about, oh, well, Rhea is the ring general and it's because of Rhea that she was that good. No. Rhea's good. Don't get me wrong. But Jade did her thing. Jade, at some point, she looked like she carried the match. I'm gonna be that real. I'm gonna go ahead and say it. It looked like she carried the match sometimes, the majority of the match. You know what I mean? But it was good. I'm disappointed that she lost because I felt like Rhea didn't really need it. But it is what it is. They'll make it work.
We talked about that.
Yeah.
Before this match even happened, where we were saying how she we was talking about how this could be a lesson, right?
Yeah.
And she talked to Krista B and she said, I play with my food. And I was like, oh, so I definitely expect to see more of the story there. Shout out to Michin and B-Fab.
Facts.
Being, well, B-Fab been a part of WrestleMania when she was with the Street Profits. Michin's first WrestleMania. I thought but I really enjoyed that match. I thought
I did.
It was hard. Sometimes you're like, okay, what's gonna be the style with two tall women like that? Because she's not Charlotte Flair, right? And we know with Charlotte and Rhea, they put on a classic. So I was like, you know, so I was a little bit worried, not worried, but you know, I was like, how's this going to look? But man, I thought they delivered. I will say this about night one, man. I had to go back, and when I went back and watched Oba and Brock, this felt like the first time since the second run of the Roman Brock era. Well, no, the third time. But this, besides that era, this was the first time where somebody was like on Brock's level. You know what I mean? Goldberg, it always kind of felt like forced because it was like, oh, it was Goldberg. You know, if anything, that felt like Brock was playing down to his competition. But, you know, the way Oba was in the ring with him, at first when Oba went out and challenged him, it was, okay, Oba's out there because, you know, he's the next big thing, whatever. So it was like, all right, Oba's doing this. Okay. But he's showing us like, yeah, I'm ready. But he was kind of like that. I don't want to say that kid, but kind of like the young guy, like, you saying you ready, but are you really going to be ready? Because you keep kind of catching him, like, not in a ready position. You know what I mean? But then, Oba, first of all, the Oba strut, right? And you
felt 75 feet.
Come on, bro.
Yes. You felt
he was dedicated. Yes.
He was taking big strides.
And then Brock come out there. And he's ready. Both of them look jacked. And then he had his way with Brock. And I was like, oh, he looked like he here. He mean business. He don't look green. He is ready. And that's the way I felt when I like going back and looking at the presentation on television. And I said, oh yeah, this is gonna be a match I'm gonna probably watch over and over again.
Definitely. That match was perfectly booked. I'm not gonna lie.
Were you guys surprised? Were you guys surprised by that? Because they actually gave us a wrestling match. It's like it wasn't just like a bunch of a throw, a hit, a slam, F5, suplex. I was like, oh, they actually gave us a little something.
I didn't know what to expect, honestly, because it could have been just a squash. You know what I mean? And it could have went either way.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? So I didn't really know what to expect. I was just there to enjoy the moment. But like I said, the match was perfectly booked. You know, both guys were able to get their licks in. What Drew said, get their stuff off. You know what I mean? Both of them they were able to get their stuff off. And Brock,
I didn't know they had that.
Hey, bro.
You get air horns for getting your stuff off.
Brock hit the F5, and I like the way that Oba sold that F5. He didn't pop back up just like
Goldberg.
I was talking about that this morning. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He took his time. He went to one knee and was just like, all right, cool. Let me gather myself.
He looked like he overcame it, not just popped back up like it didn't happen.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Shook it off, came back, did his move, ended it. And of course, you know, Brock gave him his flowers right then and there. Like Brock was rolling. That's the thing I loved about this feud from the jump. And I said it before, is that Brock was 100% game.
They said he was handpicked. They said
absolutely. Absolutely.
So when it comes to Oba versus Brock versus the ladder match, did you like how they chose what matches to put as the free hour versus you feel like maybe those early hours could have been any other match on the card? You talked about Oba Femi and Brock Lesnar and why that happened, right? Do you feel like any other matches could have been in those places to kind of, you know, use those to, you know, because, you know, night one was on ESPN too, but night one was directly on ESPN, right? Do you feel like those matches were in the right place to start the show off?
Oh, yeah. Go ahead. I was going to say yeah, too. Yeah, go ahead.
When you look at first of all, diversity in the ladder match is and people love ladders. Like what the one thing that people who don't watch wrestling no more, they'll always talk about WrestleMania 17. They'll talk about the TLC 2 matches. They'll talk about the Hardys, Edge and Christian. So people are always gonna pop for a ladder match, even if because you also don't need to have a story. Just go out there and see everybody go crazy, right?
There you go. Yeah.
And the one thing I didn't like, but I it's like, all right, it is what it is. Just that's just television nowadays. Is the TV interests? I hate that. I hate
I
that.
can't stand that. Yeah.
For WrestleMania,
we came out and there was a couple guys in the ring already. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm
so
like,
pissed.
On time.
I saw that today. I was like, what the heck? Like, come on, bro. Don't do JD. It was JD and I think Dragon Lee.
Dragon Lee, yeah.
Like, everybody deserves that moment. But, you know, Javon Evans is every young person's favorite wrestler.
Yeah.
And every old head, or as he calls us, OG's favorite little brother, little cousin, little nephew. So you put him on, and I mean, just see a lot of he crosses over. You look at a lot of young people from all different shades. They love Javon Evans. So
same thing with Oba Femi. That's the beauty.
Yeah. So you got to put
that superstars. Go ahead.
Yeah, you got to put those guys on TV. You know what I mean? And then for Trick Williams, because that was the one that came up next. That's more for him to talk about. Because he gonna remind you, see, I'm too good. You don't put me on the first hour. They gotta pay to see me. You know, it's like I thought night 2. I guess both match orders were great as far as I was concerned, but I love the way night 2 was.
Yeah, it made the most sense. Like you said, just to piggyback off of what he said, you know, you got Brock and Oba. Brock is already known in the sports industry or in the sports world.
That's also a good point.
Yeah, you see what I'm saying? Football, UFC, and wrestling. So that makes sense. You're also trying to get new eyes on these guys like Oba Femi, Javon Evans, JD McDonough, you know? Get those guys over. Dragon Lee, get those guys over. And then in the ladder match, you also have Rey Mysterio. Who's a legend. You know what I'm saying? Everybody knows Rey Mysterio, right? They know the mask.
Once he walked to the ring and he was dressed like Deadpool, I was like, oh yeah, that's why he belongs in this match. It was like you forget about who Rey Mysterio is until you put him in a Rey Mysterio moment. You're like, oh yeah, that makes sense. That's why we needed Rey.
Absolutely. And then you got somebody like Penta, you already know, with the Penta walk.
Yeah, he was this was his WrestleMania coming out party.
Absolutely. You know, so it makes sense. And then of course, I show Speed on the other side. Everybody knows Speed. Everybody in the world literally knows Speed. He got his moment off. The Usos. We already know about Jey Uso, one of the biggest stars. I don't care what nobody say. He's still one of the biggest marketable stars in the WWE right now. So it kind of makes sense for the matches that they actually pick to be on that first hour.
Okay. So here we go. So I got to raise you another one. So tell me your favorite match or match of the night from night 1. And then your favorite match or match of the night for night 2. Now, here's the caveat. Whatever reason that you choose those matches is your own, right? So it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be because, this match was better because the crowd cheered more for it. No, it's like whatever reason, because we have three different distinct, like we all walk into the building because we like wrestling. But wrestling fans are very different in their preferences and what they like, which is the beauty of why you have, like Brian said, diversity in your match card and in your superstars. And Triple H talked about it recently on Cody Rhodes' podcast. That's my WWE plug for today. I used to do one show. You okay, Brian?
You fall asleep?
No, I like old school conversations.
Both of them talk in a monotonous voice.
I didn't.
Do.
I'm gonna tell you what I didn't like. I didn't like Cody Rhodes being on his best behavior. I will say that Cody Rhodes was really trying to like behave.
Like Cody, you already champion, bro.
And I'm like, dude, when Kevin Owens is on the show, you guys are drunk, cracking jokes and talking about people. But it's like he's acts different when he's around his friends. But yes, what was your match of the night for Saturday? And match of the night for Sunday. It could be 1 or 2. It's like there's no boundaries to this. But what's your match of the night, and then why? And then I'm gonna, as we move the conversation forward in true realm fashion, I got another thing that we have to discuss, because we have to discuss the evolution of where this WrestleMania is going, and if this WrestleMania represents a change, and like, are we witnessing the next generation kind of take place? Is WWE as we know it like done with an old format of like, well, it used to be young guys, but it's like, wait a minute, like Triple H's first NXT class are like veterans now. Are we seeing a transition? Are we seeing a change with what we look at? But let's start with the first question, and we'll kind of drift into that. And we'll still talk about how WrestleMania ended and how it led into Monday in the main event of our show with Jacob Fatu all of a sudden stepping into this picture So I guess what he did at WrestleMania must have did something for him. But go ahead. Who wants to go first?
Oh, what is that? I don't. Okay, I didn't know what he was doing at first. Okay,
I'll go first. Match of the night that I enjoyed the most. There were two matches that caught my attention the most. Probably one. I'll say that. I enjoyed the rest. They were fun because that's what it was to me. It was fun. But Seth Rollins and Gunther. I still hate Gunther. But him and I got beef. But it was so unexpected. But I like how the match ended because it furthered the conversation going forward. We still don't know what Gunther is going to call on to Paul Heyman for, and Braun Breaker just showing up and tearing Seth Rollins in half. He showed me, I'm like, yo, you're getting old. I said, because like all your old plays, these young dudes are doing to you now. Like all this stuff you did to everybody else, Seth, is starting to happen to you. So that was definitely my match of the night. Everything else, everybody else, I just kind of enjoyed for there was nothing about like I enjoyed everything. You know what I mean? And for Sunday, I mean, Oba and Brock was a huge standout. Jade and Rhea Ripley was a pleasant surprise. I mean, Jade looked absolutely amazing in the ring. Like that match to me looked like a proving ground for her. Like, hey, you've been learning all this time. Let's see you put it all together. And I was so happy because I was like, oh my goodness, she finally put it all together. She went to finishing school. You know what I mean? But obviously CM Punk versus Roman Reigns, man, that was the match. I was like, okay, this is what pro wrestling is kind of all about. It made everybody forget about what they didn't like because everybody went home happy, which is what you want your main event to do. And I was watching the match. I said, CM Punk is truly a legend. I said, because there's nobody at this age that could have that. Like he's supposed to have a nostalgia run. Like he just drew one of the biggest pay-per-view. Like that's CM Punk versus Roman Reigns is going to go down in history. You know what I mean? Like when they talk about in matches, like he's going to be solidified. I'm like, bro, and he delivered. He delivered. He told that story. What? I walked away. I had to deal with a 12-year-old, and I was like, bro. And I watched CM Punk tell his story, and I watched him get outmatched. I watched his old knees give up. He gave it all he had, but the reality is, he ran out of gas. It was nothing he could do about that. And I was like, man, that's what, like we always say, it's cinema. That's finishing school. And I'm like, he didn't, every time we watch a CM Punk match, he's like, oh, he gonna slow everything down. But see, Roman was like, hey, shoot, I do the same thing now. I'm not working that hard. And it makes you forget those things. Like I didn't even realize that, we didn't see a whole lot of pro wrestling holds because that's how good the match was. But that's what pro wrestling is supposed to do. So that's for me. Those are the moments that stood out for me the most. I enjoyed everything. Don't get me wrong. I really did. I just watch wrestling now with this, I guess, a childlike view that, you know what I mean? It's not, I've seen some really bad pro wrestling. I've seen some real stagnant periods. So this ain't really nothing compared to the stuff I've had opinion. I mean, you're talking to the guy that left and you went to Japan to watch New Japan Pro Wrestling. Well, I didn't understand a word the commentators were saying. At first, I started to figure it out. But how about you guys? What is your favorite matches or moments of I'm sorry, I gotta put this in the Danhausen John Cena moment. Like I don't know what like nobody got him when he first showed up, and then like 2 days later, he's one of the biggest superstars. Like he's at the forefront, t-shirts, merchandise. He's on both shows, and I'm like, how did he get here so fast? Anyway, but what about you, brothers?
Throw Kit Wilson in there too.
Kit Wilson, right. He's another one. Like I don't understand how these young dudes are figuring it out so fast, but I guess
and that's one thing he said. We'll look at this WrestleMania as the beginning, right? If you go back and look at you go back and look at WrestleMania 31. Triple H said everybody on the card outside him and Sting because they were old, but everybody on that card had went through NXT. That was the first like NXT WrestleMania.
Yeah.
And then when you look at this one, man, so much. But I'll say this: my favorite match at night one, for me, the moment, just like I said, it would happen.
Drum roll, please.
Twins. Bella Twins, aka Paige and Bree, winning the tag titles.
That was fire. I'm not gonna hold you.
The lineage.
I never thought I'd see Paige back and go ahead, Ronnie. She
Really?
might have cooked. No, not in a wrestling ring. I figured she'd be like a manager or on-screen character because of her neck injuries. But I was like,
oh yeah. When she went to AEW and then she didn't resign, I said, oh, she's coming home.
We all knew she was coming home eventually.
Yeah, it's one more out there.
I mean, y'all had it.
Where's
finished?
Oh, okay. So you talk about somebody else. I got excited. I'm like, yeah, where's the Daniel Bryan stuff? But I forgot he's hurt. He can't do anything. But it's definitely one out there.
One more lady.
She's picking her spot.
Yeah, play. She can go outside and play on the playground a little bit. It's like, come on home. It's some dream matches. But I thought I love the moment. The match was entertaining. Getting the Paige Charlotte spot. Lash Legend, another one who didn't look like the moment was too big for her. Her and Nia Jax pin tribute to Demolition, who finally got in the Hall of Fame. That was fine. They have an incredible run right now. Again, because at first I was like, why are they covering those pretty faces? Yeah, I didn't realize it, and also, I didn't hear the commentary. Then I got on social media. I was like, oh,
that's right. So I keep forgetting you were there live. It's different. There's certain
you
don't have when you watch it live.
Yeah, that's why I always try to watch it both. So that was for night one. That was for me. Just seeing that, and then night two. I mean, shoot.
Here we go.
Obviously, starting off with Brock and Oba. Seeing Oba come down there, like I said, just being there and watching him do what he do, put down the beast. But Roman and Punk, because again, seeds of doubt, right? Yeah, and then that's what both of them are good at doing. So there was times I was like, wait a minute, I know Punk not gonna win. Of course, you in the back of your mind, you think, well, Punk wins, that means Roman really not coming back, or it's a part-time thing, all this, that, and the other, right? But when the music hit, they did the little live interest, but when that music hit, you felt like all the Roman fans, like, oh, he got the old music. And I was like, yeah, because that other one we was losing. Like, yeah, it sounded cool, but we lost with it at WrestleMania, and we lost a couple big matches with that one. But no more of that good guy stuff. So that, but just and like I said, the ride they took us on. It's a couple times it was like, oh, it's not over yet. We still get more. So it's always fun when you can see your favorite go out there and do what they're supposed to do. I never got to see Hogan win a championship or even wrestle. I never got to see Bret wrestle, but I've been able to see, Rock wrestle. I've been able to see Austin wrestle. But
come on, Shawn Michaels. You seen HBK wrestle?
Yeah, see my good buddy Sean wrestle. Okay. But I never got to see my favorites win the title.
Oh yeah.
So that was special.
Yeah. So I asked you guys, did we see a changing of the guard? Are we seeing?
Wait a minute, hold on. I didn't get mine in.
Oh, my bad, brother. I thought you went first. My fault. I'm tripping.
No. He gonna say night one was trash, night two all up.
No, for me, night one, of course, I'm gonna go with Seth and Gunther for obvious reasons. But to be honest, for the fans, I'm going to have to say my favorite moment for the fans is the tag match, the 4-way tag match, because of Paige returning, and the Bellas or whoever they won the tag team championships. It's not for me. I don't care. I didn't want it, but I understand who it's for, and they completed the assignment and they did what they were supposed to do. Night two, already talked about Jade and how this was her showing out party. Oba, you already know how it is with that. I'm gonna go straight to the main event for all of the reasons you said. Plus, I like the callbacks. Like for instance,
there you go.
When he hit the go to sleep, the GTS. Roman hit the ropes, bounced back. Punk lifted him back up for the second one. Knees gave out, but that was a callback to how he beat Moxley. That was called back to how he beat Seth Rollins, right?
Yep.
And what's the history between CM Punk and the Shield? CM Punk made the Shield. You know what I'm saying? So he can kill the Shield that way too. So that was something I was like, oh snap. When he did that, when he picked him up on that second one, I was like, oh gosh. Roman is about it's over. It's over. And I was like, all right, cool. I would have been okay with that ending. You know what I mean? I don't like Punk, but I would have been okay with that ending. You know, but that's just something that's something else I had to point out about that match. It was just callbacks or whatnot. So that's it.
No, that's fun. That's absolutely fun. Just is and this is like I said, I don't fully understand why. I mean, everybody has their own reasons, but it's like when you have those moments, it's like, well, then this what this is about. This is kind of a reunion for us. This is a callback. It's Mania, special moments. So, are we seeing a WWE transition at this point? Are we looking at the new WWE? I remember a brother guy had just texted. He said, "Fellas, I didn't realize it at first, but I think this is the new WWE." We've seen generations change, and I say that is because you look at the ones who all the generals in the ring this year were like, these are all Triple H's babies. Like they're running the show now. And it's like, wait a minute. We remember when we were fighting for that group just to get an opportunity to be taken seriously. And it's like now, and then we not only did we watch them come in, we watched them kind of like transition into being the main event players, and we kind of been taking it for granted. And then now we're like, wait a minute, these guys are the vets now. They're out here trying to help build new stars.
You was gonna find a way to make everybody understand why Sami Zayn had to be in that match.
He had
great job.
It makes sense. Yeah, like
no, but not even the whole thing with Mello, but just the general of him being a general.
And Stephanie McMahon gave it away. To your point, Brian, I want you to finish your point. When she called him a B+ player and her Hall of Fame speech, I said, that's there it is.
Yeah.
That was the one point. Yeah, clearly Trick was like, okay, he everybody knows he can't go toe to toe with Sami Zayn in 60 minutes, but he needed Sami Zayn more than anybody wants to give Sami Zayn credit for it. But like I said, Triple H had everybody he trusts in these matches. Oba Brock, come on now. The ladder match, he had Rusev, he had Ray. You look at CM Punk, Roman Reigns, they can carry their own. You look at Rhea, she was there for Jade. You had Sami Zayn, he was there for Trick. You had Damon Finn, he was there for Dominic. You know what I mean? And this is also the rebuilding of Finn. Finn has gone back to his main event look. He had that match with CM Punk, and CM Punk's like, man, you better get back to yourself because you lost yourself. And that's the same reason the Judgment Day gets mad at him. But I'm like, we're getting old Finn back. You know, we kept saying, why is Finn not in that world title picture? He's too busy with these kids. He's old enough to be all their dads. He's in his 40s.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's like, now we're getting main event Finn. And I think Finn should be in the same conversation with guys like Drew, where you could just plug and play at any point in time. You know what I mean? Without having to build.
That's what I wanted to get to. Yeah. It's a lot of matchups that I'm. Oh, go ahead, my fault.
No, go ahead.
I was about to say it's a lot of new matchups that I want to see. You know, you got Oba, you got Roman, you can Oba Gunther Roman. Like Finn, you can insert him in there, like you just said. It's so many new matchups that we can get out of this new transition. And it's like, man, it's just I'm eager to see what's coming next.
Well, that brings us to the conversation as we try to bring this home. We talk about what comes next. WrestleMania 42 to me was a pleasant surprise. I know we were very critical of the road to WrestleMania, and we weren't really sure. And a lot of people still feel some type of way, but that's just because we have platforms where people can give their opinions. If people didn't have the platforms to give their opinions, we wouldn't be saying these things about WrestleManias, because it was never as bad as the masses tried to make it seem, because what they wanted to happen didn't happen. Let's make that perfectly clear. But we have a new space. They didn't waste any time turning the page. One of the things that you got to give WWE credit for is there were criticisms like, oh, WWE has no champions under 40, right? But then, or WWE has no African-American stars. And Shawn Michaels is like, hey, listen, we're still cooking. This is we got them in a crock pot. Just relax, right? And there's this three-headed monster that everybody is in love with Trick Williams, Javon Evans, and Oba Femi. That's at the forefront right now. There's still a handful more, Carmelo Hayes, and there's so many in place and up and coming, right? But it's like, are we not operating with a level of patience, fellas, where we're not allowing these transitions to happen and to move forward? because when you look at the Raw at the WrestleMania, it's usually a big surprise. Like if this was the old day, Jericho would have returned. Vince would have fought hard to get Jericho out of contract so he can have that moment, and that's what it would have been, a moment. Versus we watched, and we saw Triple H do this years ago. Is no, we're gonna have some surprises, but they're not just gonna be just surprises for the sake of the show. That's the old Carney way. Let's just have this moment before we send all the fans home, and then we got to make sense of it later. No, we're turning the corner. We're introducing new talent and and it's very calculated. You had Sol Ruka coming to the mix. You had Ethan Page coming to the mix, and it was like, okay, cool. So they're kind of, this is the NXT call up run, but this is for those who are ready. And they went out there and so Ruka had she had the audience on their feet, and I'm like, that's what it's about. You need that. You need these type of matches for your live audience. And it's always a setup just so you can see her finisher. Once she does that finisher in front of an audience that's never seen it before, it's you know what I mean? It's a whole different conversation. Now, how many new fans of Sol Ruka do you think we have now that might have witnessed that randomly in a Monday Night Raw that is not familiar with her on NXT? But she just randomly went up the rope, flipped backwards, and cuttered somebody. And I was like, oh my goodness, that was cool to see. And only imagine being live in person seeing that, right? So it's like we're transitioning. Are we looking at the next generation of talent coming into the mix? And you know what I mean? Like, hey, now we're going to start pushing guys to the front. NXT 2.0 might have been onto something.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, just looking at the matchups, and I think maybe they won't be there so fast. Like, I don't, Oba calling out Roman, I don't expect that to be like, I never expected him to show up in his face on Raw.
Yeah, they're gonna make us wait for that one.
Yeah, because that's money.
Did you like his
protect
promo?
The money. Who's?
Oba's. His less is more promo. He kind of came in there. Who did we?
What Roman did.
Okay, that's what I was about to say. Who else did that recently? Where he just came in and he just. First of all, he just
it's my yard now.
Everybody.
Yep.
When last time we seen a face do that? Like he came in and he wasn't up, but they booed him though.
Well, he was still a face, but okay.
No, I'm saying like, but let me set up for you. Oba Femi comes out there and he just stood in the ring and everybody was just going nuts from it. He was just sitting there and taking it in, and everybody's just like, Oba, who? The music goes up and all he says is, "Your ruler is here." And everybody even loses it even more. Like he didn't even have to say anything. This is a Michael Jackson type stuff. Michael Jackson flipped his eyes and he flipped his head and he took his sunglasses off and everybody's going crazy. Like I was like, yo, he didn't. He just sat there. Why? The longer he stood there, the more they cheered and said 3 words: "The ruler is here," and everybody lost their minds even more. I'm like, bro, that's rare to see that. Did you like his promo?
Oh yeah,
short, sweet, to the point.
Yeah, I loved it. I think we're gonna still see. Let's see Justice at SummerSlam. I don't know.
Justice at SummerSlam.
I think that's way too soon.
I think it's definitely way too soon. He said what he said at the presser. He said, "Look, I'm here. We're gonna establish ourselves." And then he said, "By the end of the year, Roman, I'm coming for you." I was like, "Okay, so they're not gonna give it to us a little bit." Certain things you could tell they're trying to avoid, like that's almost as bad as like when him and Royce Keys didn't have a face off at the Royal Rumble. It's like, oh nope, they're not giving that.
Right.
It's no big meaty man slapping meat right here.
Right.
But
exactly.
Like I was asking Brother Hugh, I was like, yo, are we looking at the next generation? Like, is this the NXT 2.0 class about to be like our main eventers in the next maybe year or two? If they're already being pushed to the forefront. We're getting so many new stars being introduced, and they're stars because the fans. I don't know what's going on. Who was in Vegas this weekend, but I loved every last bit of it because they responded well to all the wrestling. Like it was nothing about the way the audience responded that made me go, they really weren't feeling Mania. So if you said Mania was bad, I'm like, bro, I could not tell because that audience was hot.
Right.
That's
Saturday,
what I'm saying.
Sunday, Monday. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I mean, like you said, we talked about it before on previous shows. Look, the people that set the top, they're old heads now, right?
Crazy, ain't it?
We literally did a whole show on who's up next.
Yeah.
And we named our guys: Carmelo, Dragunov, Braun. Like, these guys are here now, and it's time for them to be at the top. So yes, we're definitely going into a transition period where we get these new top guys, the new blood up there, getting them prepared, mixing them well, putting them in programs with some of the top veterans and whatnot, so that they can learn. Because these veterans going to be gone within the next 5 years.
Yeah. That's
And,
thing that's crucial. Go ahead.
well, I mean, that's literally it. Then you got to
Okay.
bring new guys in like Leon Slater. I'm pretty sure he's next.
Oh yeah.
You know,
Don't forget.
Ricky Sosa.
Ricky
You know what I mean?
Sosa's he's
Like,
developing.
you have a bunch of new guys down there. Ethan Page came up last night. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
What? And
yeah.
you look great.
I mean,
in this
Monday.
position.
Yeah,
Looked like he belonged.
absolutely.
That's
100%.
that it is, Brian H. He looked like he belonged. He didn't look like he was in the NXT call up. Same thing with Sol
Right.
Ruka. Same thing with Sol Ruka, in all fairness. They look like, it wouldn't look like, it was, you know how sometimes you get new people and fans like, well, who the heck are they? And then it's like, we got to warm up to these people because we don't know who they are. No, they got in that ring immediately and the audience responded to what they did, whether it's what they did in matches, their moves, how they sold, whatever. And I was like, this is a dangerous group. But there's nobody more dangerous than this man right here, Jacob Fatu. Well, you guys expected him to come. First of all, here's what I expected. Roman won, we know. Roman and his ones. We knew ones were going to be Roman.
What you say?
It's going to be ones everywhere. He got his old music back. He's dragging. I told you. I don't even like his attitude now because when he was down, he was kind of frustrated. Now he's got that championship on his shoulder. I'm like, he's about to start getting back into being this Roman that we spent 4 years trying to stop. But was anybody expecting for that first person to come out there and challenge Roman to be Jacob Fatu? Once I knew CM Punk came out early in the night and him and Cody Rhodes kind of had that exchange, which was awkward. And like, they're friends, but they're poking with each other. And he goes and he starts saying, I hate, if opportunities come out of nowhere. And I was like, and then Cody Rhodes kind of picked up what he was putting down. He goes like, guess what, Punk? You say any place, anytime. And it was like, okay, cool. So now we got a reservation. This is going to happen at some point. Right. So I was like, okay, he's not coming. He's probably going to go to SmackDown. Like he did his consent speech. Like, look, he sounded like somebody that lost an election. All right, fellas, I lost. I did what I came to do. I'm not stopping. I'm not giving up. I mean, as you know, you win some, you lose some. But it was like, okay, it didn't hurt him. And then he kind of teased like, hey, I might be going somewhere else. But Roman comes out there and he makes it clear. First of all, he went up there with Jimmy and Jay. And I was like, here we go with this again. I was like,
come out there with him.
Bro, I was looking for something. Like, I'm like, is Jay looking at him sideways? Is he jealous? Should he feel like it's supposed to be him?
He fell right in line.
Bro, that's the part scared the pants off me. I said, no. So then when he went out there and they talked about it, put your ones down, Brian H. How many ones you going to put up?
Hey, man,
and I was
never
like,
have enough.
You sound like Magic City in Atlanta. I don't know.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
I like it. I like it.
Okay. I knew you would like it, Brother Hugh. So it's like, what are we doing here? And then just when you think Roman is finished, Jacob Fatu's music hit. I said early in the show, fellas, I immediately got nervous. I said, please no. I said, because here's my biggest fear. My biggest fear is that he come out there, he look at everybody mean mugging, not say a word, and put his ones in the air. And I was like, no, they're going to be stronger and more dangerous than ever. Because we even talked about before, we like, man, if Jacob was here before Solo, they really will be. Solo was the muscle, but I'm like, Jacob might have been a better fit for that role.
Facts.
You know what I mean?
Facts.
Especially the role he played. He pretty much played the same role for Solo, when he transitioned into his early version of what is now known as the MFT, My Family Tree. But I was like, please don't. So when he grabbed that mic and started to challenge him, saying, look, man, I need to put my kids in better schools. I want the house. I want the cars. I'm not trying to be Tribal Chief, but I want what that championship brings you. And I was like, oh. And I was shocked. I was like, I did not expect this, but I'm okay now. I felt immediately relieved. But then Roman, I'm going to tell you what made me nervous. Roman didn't respond to it, fellas. He was like, you're right. I'm glad you think this way, but the reality is, Jacob, you're not ready. Like he was he wasn't offended that his cousin wanted to come and take the title away from him. Because anybody else would say, that's what's wrong with you now. You trying to take what I got, even though we cousins. Your mama and my mama don't never get along anyway. Sisters. Anyway.
Right.
Like that didn't, you see what I'm saying? Like it didn't go down that way. He was like, no, you're not ready. He said, can you handle the bird? Like he was very calm about it. And mind you, you got to remember Jacob and Solo are around the same age. And there's an 8-year difference between all of them. Like Roman and the Usos are much older than Solo and Jacob. So he was like, you're not ready for this. But what's a bigger burden? You not being ready or you having to acknowledge me? And I'm like, why did he ask me that? I'm nervous.
Hey, son, look, all I heard was, look, Jacob said, look, I want the cars, I want the clothes, I want support from my family. I want all of that, right? All I heard was Roman saying, look, okay, you know what I mean? I'll give you that.
Bingo.
I'm gonna put on for the family. I'm gonna put on for the family. That's the first thing he always said. Look,
man,
I'm the tribal chief because I put on for my family. I feed y'all. He said, all right, cool. I admire your courage and step up to me, whatnot, but I'm gonna feed you. I ain't gonna give you an answer right now because I don't want you to get too hype, start feeling your britches a little bit. No. I'm gonna make you wait, but I'm gonna give you a chance. I'm gonna show you what's up, though. I'm gonna show you why they called me the tribal chief.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's all
afraid.
I saw from it.
Nah, I'm with you, brother. I was nervous. I was like, he could, because I'm like, he can offer him those things that, look, you may not have this, but if you still want that, I'm trying to tell you, look what we did for Jay. He's got proof of concept at this point. Like, look what I did for Jimmy. Look what I did for Jay. Look what I did for Sister Trent, as they call her.
One loss from Roman is gonna put you on. It's gonna put you over.
What? That is a fact. And I'm like, and Jacob kind of, and Roman kind of like, hey, and then in his, they do the Booker T promos. They walk in and start saying stuff in front of the camera. They walk out, and you hear Roman like, bro, talk to him, man. He's like, nah. And you hear Jimmy, the sensible one. I got you. I'm gonna talk to him. He's like, yeah, talk to him, bro. Like, don't, well, man, let him know what this is about. And I'm like, okay, I sense a stipulation, and I'm calling it now. Yeah, he's going to give Jacob that title shot, but it's going to cost him. He's going to let him know. I'm like, it's not funny, Brian H. I'm like, he's probably, because he did the same thing to Jay. Like, all right, listen, we're going to fight it out, and when we're done, you're going to join me. And I'm like, how are you going to sit there and threaten to beat your cousin up and then tell him that you got to be in a group?
But it's combat.
It's cultural. Tribal combat. It's cultural. So it's like, oh, okay, this must be a part of their culture in some way, shape, or form. And I got a bad feeling. I sense that with Jacob. With Brian H.
Netflix about to be happy.
I hate the fact that brother Hugh had the technical difficulties right now, because I gotta ask you, out of all people.
Yeah.
You being a resident Bloodline member.
Come with it.
Where do you think Jacob Fatu stands? Now, he had a lot of relatives in Vegas this weekend. A lot of the Rikishi side of the family and Umaga side of the family. The Fatus was in droves. Sometimes you lose track of how many it is of them, but they were in droves. But where do you think he lines up as of right now? Was he out of pocket for him to have the audacity to challenge for the World Heavyweight Championship? Is he just feeling froggy after his, he just beat a former world champion in Drew McIntyre at WrestleMania? Is he riding high? Do you believe what he's saying, or does he want something more? Is it just a taste for a better life? But can he match up with Roman Reigns at this point?
He definitely wants something more. And you just hit it right on the head. He beat a former world champion. He was in a program with Cody, but it was what came down to no contest. And I remember sitting there, I was watching. I was like, yo, why is you coming at Roman? You better go after Cody. Go after that belt. But he sees what Roman have. And it's like, yeah, he want a piece of that because, like, Brother Hugh, like you just said, even losing, it's like, look, you might lose, you can still get a boat. You might not be the captain of the boat, but you still get a boat. Remember we said to Jimmy, you want a bigger house? I already cleared the check.
Yeah. And the crazy part is that it doesn't necessarily mean it has to be now. It's because in those 2 years that they took off, Jay also became one of the biggest stars in the company. So it's like, once again, the part that scares me the most is Yo really got proof of concept. I'm like, oof.
And Jacob, I mean, look, he's a little nervous. He probably shouldn't be doing this, but guess what? Now he got to get with it. Now he got to deal with it.
So you don't think Jacob Fatu has a chance? Is this a bad spot for him to be in this early, fresh off of WrestleMania? Thinking you want to go right at Roman? I'm assuming that Backlash, and think you're going to sit there and dethrone him this early?
It's crazy for him to think that, but at the same time, I get it. You know, closed mouths don't get fed. In order to do that, you gotta go out there. You gotta go out to the biggest dog in the yard. You gotta go out to the tribal chief.
And that's the part that seems like he respects about it. But I'm like, man, I feel like I don't trust Roman Reigns. I think it's quite manipulative. The fact that he's like baiting him into this, it's like, okay, I got to teach you some things because you just don't know no better. But once I teach you these things, I'm like, man, here we go again with these manipulating cell jobs. But family's family.
But the tribal chief is about to tame a wild werewolf. That's crazy, bro.
It's funny. It's funny you just jumped in and said that, because that's literally what I asked, bro. Like, Brian, does he really stand a chance, or is Roman really just baiting this guy in so he can teach him something? What are you thinking, brother? Does Jacob, like, is it too soon? Is he bold? Like I said, he beat a former world champion in Drew. He might just be feeling himself right now. He's been watching for a while, and now he's decided, you know what, I think I want this. And the fact that Roman's patient, like, okay, I've done this before, you know.
Yeah. 100%. I mean, Roman brought up a great point. Can he hold those Can he carry those responsibilities of being a champion?
Just as a matter of factly, just like, can you do this?
To be honest, I think he can, but it's going to be for a short term. He can't do it long term. And I don't see you having Roman beat CM Punk at WrestleMania just for him to lose to Jacob right away.
This is not AEW.
You see what I'm saying? So it's like, exactly. So it's like, well, it's time for me to tame you. Let me show you something, boy. You know what I mean?
Well, he's the younger cousin. He got to show him. You know, he got to teach him
100%.
what it's like, you know.
That's why he walked away. Said, Jacob, I haven't seen you in a while. Like, I swear, it's pissing me off, bro. I'm like, yo, there he go. Now he's super confident all of a sudden. Jacob, I haven't seen you in a while. And the fact that you out here tells me lost things. And then he goes like this. He goes, I'll see you soon, little cousin. I was like, oh, here you go. He just little broed him.
Right.
Like he ain't just say, he never acknowledged him to be little cousin the entire time he was out there until the end. He's like, you and I will talk soon. I'll see you around, little cousin.
Because he also know Jacob is a loose cannon. That's why he said.
Right. That's why the Usos left him where he was at. Man, we ain't go after them cousins. We left them where they was at for a reason.
I seen he was tribal chief.
You know what I mean? Throw it up. You know what I mean?
I know one thing. When Brian H put that picture of him and Haku, I said, Brian H is in the safest place in Las Vegas, right?
Hey, yo, 100%.
Yep.
Better become his best friend. Like,
dang, realness just went out. Yeah, I was like, man. Oh, yo, and you sitting, I'm sitting there, I'm thinking like, yo, this dude really like ripped out somebody's eyeball.
He bit his nose off or the ear off too.
I think that was in Baltimore too.
That was in Baltimore at the airport. Yeah. A couple minutes away. You know what I mean? So,
I'm trying to tell you, man.
But that was my guy since day one, man. Since you first met me, that was my guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But hey, man.
He said the wave froze right on Haku.
I told you, yo. StreamYard's kicking everybody out.
Yo, it's crazy.
It's all good. See, I told you, all I was trying to do was say that Brian Hayes was in the safest place as long as he was there, but it's all good.
Yeah.
But listen, we've gone long enough. It was such a big week. Big weekend, WrestleMania, man, fellas. We survived another one. We've been doing this for a long time, man, and I'm looking forward to see what comes next.
Oh,
was I the only one that thought for a second that it was about to be a coup against Jai? Listen to me. Whatever it was, I was hoping that this Jacob would not join. Or you never know, bro. That would have been a crazy twist.
No, why not? Nah, come on.
I'm gonna be honest with you. Jimmy and Jay not built like that. They're conditioned. Like they can't. They'll always be Roman's little cousins, even though they're like a year and a half apart or whatever it is.
Yeah. Jacob is different.
Jacob is one of the cousins. Is the reason they left him where he was at. He's from Sacramento. They're from on California. But
he used to live with Roman's sister.
I didn't know that. Remember he said that? I didn't leave it. He only went back to the West Coast when his sister passed away.
Yeah.
I said, man,
worst thing he could have did.
Yeah. He said everybody was living with Roman's sister. She was the one looking out for everybody. But like I said, she was older. Roman was the baby of that generation.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like his siblings were, I think they like 15 and 18 years older than him or something crazy like that.
Probably. I could see that though.
Because it was on the
crazy boy.
It was on the A&E special, because Sika was a little bit older when he had Roman.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So he, like I said, they were teenagers, I think, when he was born, or around that. You know what I mean? When he was a little fella, they were in their teens, so they were way older than him. Yeah. But it's okay, man. I think I don't think we're about to have another bloodline civil war, but I think something is brewing.
Roman and the Usos got to deal with Killer Cam first, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Well, listen to me. That's
probably put that rapper down back in his place.
That's probably going to have to be that's probably going to have to be dealt with too at some point. So Roman was right. He said we've got so many more stories to tell, and 100%. I think those stories are about to start taking shape. And to be honest with you, if we see,
come home,
God dang, Brian H. All right, dang. He's still mourning. We're still mourning CM Punk's knees, bro. He couldn't get back up.
Now we got his for the next.
Oh my God,
whenever,
bro.
We're going to another 13-16
all day.
At least
do the
summer, bro. He committed to the summer not being part time. And as soon as it get cold, he probably like, need to take a break.
13-17. Let's go.
Man, listen, I know one thing though. If WWE spikes in numbers again at this point,
we need you back, Brock. We need you back, Roman.
Roman's gonna be on, like, I don't even know what kind of stats to call it. Just if he can be just as effective and popular as he was before, as far as the numbers are concerned, like, okay, Roman's back, and all of a sudden everything goes up through the roof.
Yep.
It's gonna be hard not to call this man the greatest of all time, and I'm the one that doesn't want to admit it. But I'm like, bro, the numbers are the numbers. Pro wrestling has got to be one of the hardest things to draw, to me, in all of sports entertainment. So when you can like do that, that's why Hogan is always so revered, because it's like his name itself was enough to add an extra. You know what I'm saying? Like,
check out that documentary, man.
I'm not looking at that mess.
Is that available now?
Yeah, it's available. It was available. This as of 3 p.m.
Okay.
3 a.m. PT.
You got to watch it. This is the human side.
It's history. This is wrestling history. Brother, I learned more stuff, and I listened to. It's
I'll watch it because it's homework for the show, but that's about it.
I was about to say, I said, the more you gas it, Brian, the more brothers like, you know what? Now I'm not going to watch it, because
this is my new last dance. I can't wait to rewatch.
I'm not going to lie to you though. The only problem I have with that is, brother, here, you don't like this, is that you got all this time to watch everything else, but you have still yet to watch.
Still didn't watch Ready to Rumble.
Ready to Rumble. So we can have a conversation about that on the show. I'm starting to think you just don't want to.
I'm halfway through it.
No. You have to watch it from the beginning.
Just watch it.
I can't watch. See, certain things you can't. You got to sit there and watch. You can't watch. I can't watch it this seat because I'm doing stuff. So, like, I can throw
stop doing stuff and watch the show.
Thank you. Tubi's everywhere. Bro.
Work.
Phone, iPad. You ain't working all the time.
Right.
You gotta watch Ready to Rumble.
He said, you gotta get some more video games. Instead of playing video games, take 2 hours out, watch that daggone Bruce.
I ain't played the game in like over a week.
So I'm trying to figure out why you haven't watched Ready to Rumble for all this. You watched the Hogan documentary and you watched Shawn Michaels, but you ain't watched Ready to Rumble. That's all I'm saying.
Because I didn't even watch Shawn Michaels yet. Dang.
Yeah,
I fell asleep on it. I shouldn't have watched. I tried to watch it late, and I was like, "This is not gonna work."
Yeah,
that's cool. Yeah. It's all good. But thank you for those who stuck with us throughout this late evening. Like I said, WrestleMania was such a massive event, huge year for the wrestling realm, and this was. I think this has been a pleasant surprise, brother. He wasn't feeling it at first, but I think he looked at it in a different space and it even changed his outlook a little bit. Maybe not his preferences, what he liked and didn't like, but you know what I mean? But just understanding.
And this Cody match is actually good.
It's real good.
I think it's real good, yeah. It just sometimes in the moment, it's just like, wait, what? You know what I mean? And also, I support Pat McAfee's send-off. I thought it was hilarious.
It was cool. It was cool.
Roger, I never said I ain't like Hogan no more. I say he made me mad and disappointed, but I ain't saying I ain't like him no more. I ain't gonna fool myself. But as I always said, at the end of the day, the dude got me booked on television twice.
Well, there you go. Shout out to being booked on television twice. But in the meantime, please, everybody who was listening, who was watching, we ask you to follow us on all of our social media platforms at Wrestling Realm. Subscribe to our Patreon, Twitch, and YouTube at The Wrestling Realm. If you subscribe to our Patreon, if you're a new patron, you can hear the Attack of the Underwear Bandit WrestleMania story from Brother Human Brian H. That's a deep cut, WrestleMania 28. So, anyways, but with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you guys.
People it inspired too.
You said what?
Shout out to the people it inspired that I met in Vegas. Sorry,
okay. I thought you were talking about the WrestleMania underwear.
That's what I thought you were talking about too. Yeah,
underwear bandit story. It's okay. Yeah, shout out to all the Wrestling Realm fans that came out to Brian H. that sent their love for the show and the program and what we've been doing for so many years. We definitely appreciate you.
We do.
We survived another WrestleMania. It's a lot of content, a lot going on, and still so much to come. But until then, we got to get out of here. We will be back next week. And as I say all those other times, wrestling fans, just stay wrestling fans. There's a PSA out there, so you guys should probably listen to that. But like I said, whatever you do, be a wrestling fan, stay a wrestling fan, all that good jazz. On that note, we are gone. We out of here. Peace. We'll see you next week.
Houston, we have a problem.
For all exclusive shows and bonus material, subscribe to our Patreon channel at patreon.com/thewrestling_realm. You can watch all of our Wrestling Realm content anytime on youtube.com/thewrestling realm.